And you already know.
Sometimes it's hard to explain how you feel when your troubles are weighing you down. And it's hard to accept that the world has your back when you cry and there's no one around. But it's okay, girl, to take a day, girl, to regroup and to relax your mind. I know your pain, girl. Trust when I say, girl, that tomorrow is gonna be alright. Breathe just breathe. Nobody said it'd be easy. You're working hard to take care of your babies. And the way the world's set up, even when your man gives up, you got to keep it moving on. So it's okay, girl. Take a day, girl, to regroup and to relax your mind. I know your pain, girl. Trust when I say, girl, that tomorrow is gonna be alright. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Then lay your troubles down. When you're tired of all the drama, makes me wanna holler, yeah. I know you're tired of stressing with the world on your shoulders. Breathe in, breathe out, let it go. I know you're tired of stressing. I know, yeah. Breathe in, breathe out, let it go. 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 Just breathe. Just breathe.
Microphone check. 1 2 1 2. What up, family? It is your girl, JustPatrice, host of Live with JustPatrice. And guess what? I know it's Monday, but us has moved to Mondays. So glad to be here. Glad to be here. Glad to be the way that you kick off your Mondays. Glad to be the way that you kick off your work week right here on blowradio.com. So no matter what it is that you're doing and what you got going on, glad to have you join me for the midday goodness right here on blowradio.com. I'm excited always to be here and be with you guys. Be excited to have you share in all of this goodness that I got to offer. And hopefully, it'll turn out good. Make sure we're going to take care of a little business. Make sure you share the video. So today is the first time I've actually gone live on like all my platforms at the same time. So I'm live on my personal page, live on my artist page, JustPatrice, live in the group, Live with JustPatrice, live in the page on the page, Live with JustPatrice, live in blowradio.com page, and live on YouTube. I am JustPatrice. So we crossed all the platforms today I figured that it's the best way to we're gonna spread our wings a little bit and see what it do. Lovely song queen. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. I wrote it a little bit ago for the show, and I kind of like it. I'm thinking about some changes, but for right now, it was more than appropriate. Today I'm extra nervous about something. I have no idea, but maybe it's the excitement, maybe it's the anxiety, maybe it's because it's Monday, and folks be like, "Oh, Mondays," and I don't feel that way about Mondays. I feel like let's do what it do. I wanted to remind you guys that if you are commenting in the Facebook page, if you are commenting in the groups, or on the pages that are not my personal page, that you still have to give StreamYard permission. So go up into the comments or to the description, and in the description there is a link that allows you to give StreamYard permission to post your name. Otherwise, I see you. Like, I see you guys logged in. However, I don't know who's who. So shout out, say your name so I can show you some love, or comment, or whatever the case may be, so I can show you some love. It'd be my pleasure to have you guys hanging out with me. And I want to know who I'm hanging with today. Would love to know who I'm chopping it up with today, who took the time out of their day to spend some time with us, or with me per se. I just want to make sure I'm clearing all of this out. Of course, I want to invite you. Hey, Lorena. Good afternoon, Facebook user. I see all of y'all. I just don't have the ability to see your name, so I can't speak, but I will. As soon as you shout out, let me know who you are, or give them permission and let them announce you. That would be phenomenal. Also want to remind you that, of course, you are welcome to call in, because why not? It's always good to be able to hear what's what I'm saying? Maybe it's good for you to be able to hear your voices. That energy, that exchange is always fire. You follow what I'm saying? So if you want to call in, do so. Come on and welcome me into the new year. Welcome me into Mondays. Let me welcome you back. That number is 414-885-4739. That's area code 414-885-4739. And come on, just say hi. It's okay to go on and call. Just remind to be respectful, remain respectful, stay mindful to remain respectful. There we go. Okay. Shout out to Lamar, who chimed in. Maybe it's because you're in your comfort zone, which allows you to be free. P.S. is Lamar. Thank you. I'm trying to get in my comfort zone. I'm trying to settle in on y'all. And welcome myself into Monday. Tasha, top of the day to you. How you doing? From the book, I'm welcome. Thank you, Tasha. I appreciate that. It's good. It's been a minute since we chopped it, so glad to hear you. Glad to see you joined in the conversation. I think I'm going to try to be more active. Not try to. My plan is to be more active on all the platforms. Why not? You guys have been gracious enough to either like the page, follow the group, join the group, whatever. And I want you to know what we're doing, what I have going on. And the best way to do that is to be active so y'all can see me. So we'll do that a little bit more. I want to send a few special shout outs into the new year for it's the new cheers. Shout out to, of course, the maestro himself, Homer Blow, for this amazing reformat on blowradio.com, and allowing the growth of the format for me, moving me to Mondays. And then so that means every Tuesday through Friday, Homer will be on the station. So you guys are on blowradio.com like, where's Homer? My bad, y'all. He has officially moved to 4 days in a row. That's Tuesday through Friday. Still 1 to 4:30. Still all the goodness. Still keeping it real to the next level. And I've just moved from Tuesday to Mondays. And so now you get to talk to me the first day of the week. And we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to share some stuff. And we're going to build like I did on the other day. Like Tuesdays have come a long way from live with the women's panel, then JustPatrice, and growing. And I loved coming into 2021, which is actually coming up on my 10-year anniversary, to be able to share it in this capacity. So I feel like it's growth. I feel like it's an opportunity to do more, to be able to tap into, it's a different part of myself, to tap into a different part of you, and then we can share and build and grow together. So I am going to maximize the idea, that Monday flip, Monday, what's it called? Monday message, Monday word of the day. And I feel like if we're going to start the week off with one another, then I feel like I need to sow into you a little something deeper than just the conversation, something to take away and ride with you. So today's word of the day, and I'm going to do a word of the day every Monday, and some of them will be M focused. Right now, it's so many beautiful words that start with M, and so many positive messages, and so much enrichment in the power of the word. So I want to make sure that when I get that to you, you can take it and run with it, right? So today's word is micromanage. So I was going to go give y'all something crazy that I know that most of us don't use, but I specifically chose this word because so many of us spend our time micromanaging other people and what they doing or what they not doing, and who has this and who hasn't that. And even in your households, your significant others, your children, and your families, who has this, who's doing this, what they supposed to be doing, what they not supposed to be doing. And so for the 2021, I'm going to invite you to micromanage your own shit. Okay, so take your time and break your own life down the way that you micromanage everybody else. And while you worried about what everybody else is doing, take care of you. Now, don't get me wrong, because I believe in community. I believe in building. I believe in the village all day. And in order for the village to be effective, part of us has to be involved collectively in other parts of our lives. And in order to get that done, what we got to do, we have to micromanage. However, I know y'all heard the old saying, sweep around your own front door. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm going to invite you to do as much sweeping around your own front door as you possibly can. You understand what I'm saying? Go on and micromanage your own life the way that you are micromanaging, oh girl, oh boy. You know what I'm saying? And even your children, you own them, riding them, being great parents, doing whatever, and you are not together. Let's not do that for 2021. Okay, let's not do that. Okay. The same way you micromanage your coworkers, all in their business, even when we're not even in the same building the same way that we were. And y'all still micromanaging somebody else's business. Now, and when I say micromanaging, I mean literally. Folks taking other people's stuff, folks being disengaging other people's life. Well, you don't really need that. You don't really need this life. You don't really need this time. You don't really need. So they taking it. That micromanage. You don't think that we need our time. We don't need our life. We don't need our safety. Did micromanage your own safety time? If you follow what I'm saying, sweep around your own front door. Micromanage your life, your own life, the way that you are the way that you are micromanaging everybody else's life. You follow what I'm saying? That's my word for today, for Mondays. So every Monday we're gonna have a word, and this Monday's word is micromanage, and that's my message around y'all in this word micromanage. Listen, we're gonna keep it real because that's what we do on blowradio.com. You follow what I'm saying? We're gonna stay focused, and we're gonna keep it 100. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, baby. Okay, it's nothing wrong with loving our significant others, loving our brothers, our sisters, our friends. It's nothing wrong with loving on people that mean something to us. You know what I'm saying? To handle that, take care of them, love on them, be diligent in the love that you have for them, but be diligent in the love that you have for yourself as well. Be diligent in the way that you take care of you, and the things that you need and the things that you want. You understand what I'm saying? Be diligent in the space that you need to be successful so that you can be the best that you can be, not just for them, but for you. Good morning, Lucretia. Glad to have you. Good afternoon, Lucretia. Glad to have you joining the conversation. I'm more with it. Hey, Facebook user with the wave. Hey, y'all. Hey. Shout out to Yvonne Echoes. What up, mama? How you doing? Glad to have you join the conversation. Let me see. Who is Lisa? Hey, Lisa. What's good? Good afternoon, darling. Glad to have you join the conversation. Again, I'm going to invite you guys to share this video. I'm going to invite you guys to invite your friends and your family and all your followers to come check out the show. And again, we are live on all of the platforms, majorly blowradio.com. We are live on blowradio.com, but visually live on several platforms: Facebook, a Facebook page, my personal page, JustPatrice page. I know y'all like, where's she been? Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. We're JustPatrice. Hey, y'all are live with JustPatrice, blowradio.com group, and the Live with JustPatrice group, as well as I am JustPatrice on YouTube. Just staying active on all the platforms, trying to engage as much as we possibly can. And don't forget, like I said, I did say that today's word is what, y'all? I'm going to go and leave it out there for y'all. Go on and leave it out there. Somebody tell me what today's word is of the day. You feel me? All right. So also, I want to touch base about this little $600 that everybody mad about. You follow what I'm saying? We know that the governments, the governments of the United States, as some selfish ass people, the structure is made to foster selfishness. You feel what I'm saying? Like it always has. It's nothing new. They made the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all that shit. That's right, Lucretia. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? All I'm saying is don't trip on the amount of money that they are not giving us, because they wasn't giving it to us before. Yes, other countries have figured out a way to, and now you tell me how this makes sense. Other countries have figured out a way to disseminate dollars to their people, like on a monthly basis for this whole time. And we're not talking unemployment, just stipends of success. You know what I'm saying? Stipends for a successful living, for maintaining the livelihoods. All through that, it's already happening. They've been doing it around the world, and they never do shit like that here. It ain't new. You following? They never do nothing like that here. Don't be mad today. Oh, but so what they said they was gonna give us $600. I'm not saying be thankful for this. I'm not saying just be happy with whatever you get. But I'm sure it was $600 more than what you had before you got it. You know what I'm saying? And the truth of the matter is, here we go. If you don't want your $600, you can cash at me, fam. $ JustPatrice. Send it here. It's simple. If you don't want your 600, it's cool. Send it to me. I will have it. I will have all of y'all $600. You don't want it? You above the $600. You above the $1,200. Okay, when I'm not saying it's sufficient, but what I'm saying is addressing a desire for more is not the same thing as motherfucker complaining. It's a difference. So I'm a D-Rock said my sound is out. Anybody else having trouble hearing me? I want to make sure real quick. Anybody else having trouble hearing me? Let me see. Asia said yes, it does. Yvonne said surprise, surprise. Say it again. D-Rock says my sound is out. Is anybody else having trouble hearing me before I move forward? Man, this is crazy. How are we supposed to be the land of milk and honey and the best country ever while time they fronting for the book? That's exactly what we know, that they fronting for the world. Let me try to tell you, the truth of the matter is, at any time they wanted to, excellent. Thank you, Asia. Thank you, Lorena. I'm sorry, D-Rock. I'm not sure what's going on with your stuff. At any point in time, they can just go print some more dollars, because we know that the actual dollar is just a promissory note. It's an exchange for the banks to actually switch out gold. You follow what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really have nothing to do with us. And they give you this like little, like if we all had pens. A dollar, the value of the actual dollar is, this pen is more valuable than that damn dollar. Like for real, except for the promissory note. Is I promise to exchange you this many shares of gold. You get what I'm saying? Or this much shares of silver to compensate the its true value. But that's a whole nother story. I know nobody want to hear all the extra, and I don't like the U.S. government. But I paid attention in class. You feel me? Thank you, Facebook user. I appreciate you. um, you follow what I'm saying? And I don't. You won't hear me talk much about politics. However, sometimes you got to just make this statement to be plain. If you don't want your $600, send it to me. $sign. My cash app is $sign JustPatrice. I will have it. Okay, just send it to me. It's cool. Send them all to me. If you don't want, as a matter of fact, I know a couple people right now that could use that extra $600. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a bunch of children or they don't have multiple people in their households. It's just them. They're not working. The unemployment just ran out on the 26th of December, and they still haven't decided to re-up on the unemployment. So yeah, folks is out here doing $600. Let me guess that. You get what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I'm going to say this again so y'all stop tripping. Stop acting like there is no money moving in the economy. Look what just happened at Christmas. You think that nobody was shopping? Shut your face. They got down. Do you see what happened? Them stores ain't out of business. All them sales, all that stuff. They sold it. And guess who bought it? You guys did. Well, I'm just going to save my money. That's fine. Be strong in the save. Be strong in the save, y'all. Quit playing games. Stop acting like it ain't no money out here. It is money out here. It's people are being more mindful of what they're doing with it, as they should be. As they should be. Now, mind you, here we go with that micromanage word again. We worried about what other people doing with their money, and we ain't worried about what we're doing with our own money. Are you saving? Are you building? Because you know that this is a whole new transition of economics. It's an entire new transition of social structure. Get ready. And people talk about this stuff, and I don't like politics. I don't like this janky ass governmental structure. And I know they're going to be like, Patrice, as you see, I'm so sincere. Okay. But the truth of the matter is the structure is changing dramatically. And based on the horrible, was a 400-year-old as structure that they created years and years ago. It don't have nothing to do with how we living right now. I can't even see. Now, screw the amendments. Don't tell me that you done amended the Constitution. How about we rebuild that bitch? Because none of that stuff even apply now. Like, really, y'all just holding on to all of these rules. Like nobody needs to say, you know what? None of this is good now. At least most of it ain't. Literally, most of it is not. So these foundations that they have established for this country that are like 400 years old, like, come on, man. You can see people and talk to people instantaneously. In a minute, we're going to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? We'll do the holograms and, damn, I forgot. What is that called? I know y'all know when, like on Star Trek, when you get scanned in one place and scanned out of one place and then get scanned into another. Come on, I can't remember the name of it, but you feel what I'm saying? In and out of places. You know what I'm saying? We complaining now that folks is video calling us, chat calling us without permission, because I hate that, by the way. I want to say that. I hate that so much. But in a minute, folks gonna be hologram showing up at the crib, just in the crib. Hey, could you? I'm busy. You get what I'm saying? Just showing up with live holograms sitting in the crib. Hoot! You follow what I'm saying? You follow what I'm saying? Shout out to my homegirl, Key Madison. Happy New Year, baby girl. Happy New Year. Oh, I gotta go by you. Okay, my bad. Let me get myself together. I almost forgot. Okay, I did forget, but I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna fix it because I really want it. Okay, so that's another story. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Just these couple of things, these topics. Also, what I wanted to, I know while we're talking about government and we cover all of these little details, whatever, the idea of canceling student debt. I'm gonna tell you right now. Cancel it. Hey, Yetunde. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Todd. Hey. Hey, guys. Please cancel the student debt. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just be honest. If I had been diligently paying my student loans and or I have diligently paid them off, I might look a little sideways at the fact that some of us is not about to have to do that. Like, what, I had to pay all this money back. That's like, don't be mad that the new rule for the people that's not going to be in jail because of the marijuana. I mean, it's called progression, people. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that you had to spend out thousands of dollars to pay back. And there'll be some forgiveness. It won't be 100%. I don't think it should be, if you borrowed the money, I don't think it should be 100% forgiveness. That's just me, even though I'm telling you, I got a debt in a whole half. And I'm about to add to it because I'm going back to school in February. But that's another story. But I'm just simply saying, it's okay that they forgive that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care. Forgive $10,000 of my debt. That's great. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to forgive it all, knock yourself out, fam. I ain't mad. I will not be upset. Knock it out. Please have the dollars. Please make it so they don't have to give it back and I can just keep pursuing my education, because why not? So many other places go, they say, well, other people go to school for free in other places. I'm not going to say that the quality of education is kind of different, but it's good. I mean, whatever the case may be. What I can't balance out the idea. I don't know, because I can't argue either for or against the strength of global education versus what we got going on here in the United States. So that part, I'm just wanted to say that my official, of course, stance on that is please forgive the money. Please forgive it. I would like it very much. Please forgive the dollars. Also, while we're talking about politics, and I can get this in real quick before I start talking about all the other stuff that I really want to talk about. Your president, even though he's on his way out the door, is a whole fool. Okay, y'all, did y'all know that he called who was it? I want to make sure I say this right. He called Georgia's Secretary of State and was like, "Hey, yo, fam, make sure y'all do a recount on them ballots." For those of y'all that don't know, that's illegal as shit. Like, you cannot. Like, it's interfering with the election. The president cannot call a state and say, "Hey, he can't." It's and all those beautiful rules that they trying to make us adhere to. That is written in there, for you cannot interfere with that. And it's recorded. Like, what? This dude straight up, he threatened him and everything. Exactly. You feel what I'm saying? Like, yeah, don't let that go, because jail. They even I read several it's treason. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. A whole skinless, boneless chicken with no seasoning food. Do you hear me? Let me tell you how. And even in the reports is saying he may have done that, but it's still not going to be any persecution. If this is not telling you anything about this country, do he a whole fool? You understand what I'm saying? An entire mess. Like, he is everything. He has been everything that this country supposedly has stood against. Supposedly everything. You understand what I'm saying? He was completely impeachable, and they did not. He broke all of the rules. Like, every rule that he could break, really close to breaking the rules, he broke them. and then sat back and crossed his legs like, say something. Say something. And nobody said nothing. They was like, well, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say on air what I said about how they actually gonna have to resolve that. And I'm not gonna say it on air because I don't need no federales at my door. I don't want no issues on what all I'm gonna say is that it's out of control. You know what I'm saying? It's out of control. He's out of control. But the truth of the matter is, they've all been out of control. He's just out of control in the public. You feel me? They've all been out of control. He has just been out of control publicly. You dig that? It's he like, yeah, so who cares? And this is because, and this is absolute confirmation that they are about to restructure this entire government. They have to. Under the circumstances now, think about it. Think about it. They gotta. Facebook user. Hey, Facebook user. I'm not sure who you are, but thanks for commenting. Says, my eyes are wide open now. They've been telling us for generations to get it this way when they've been getting it that way the whole damn time. Exactly. This is finna go down. And y'all know when we were younger, like way younger, way younger. There was comments and talking about this new world order, one world order. People want to be one person, one way, one thing. Removing the social classes. Either you got it or you don't. No, we're never gonna live that way. We're gonna all be in harmony, and life is gonna be great, and we're all get along. And best friends should be together. Lies, 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 lies. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been a true fan of diversity. This because how I grew up. That's how I grew up. I grew up in an extremely diverse environment. I was culturally just balanced. Samoans, French, Africans, Asians, whatever. I grew up in like dope. My dad's a military man, so I grew up on a military base with that type of what's what I'm looking for, interaction. So that type of exposure is what I'm saying. And because of that, when we finally moved back to Milwaukee, because I was born here, when we moved back to Milwaukee, I could even see the racial divide riding through the city. Like we were driving. So we drove in from towards California area. So headed north on 43 now. You get what I'm saying? Coming through the south side, coming from way out, way south, closer to Chicago, coming into Kenosha, Racine, and then of course South Milwaukee, downtown, south side, then coming north, and was like, whoa, you can actually see it. And for a young person to be able to see that type of segregation, you know what I'm saying, and just by the structure of the city, this ain't new. And you got to know that it's not just here. You get what I'm saying? And they may have smudged lines in other places and created a blended existence in other places. But baby, let me tell you, the construct has not changed. And I've as much as I've always been for diversity, as much as I've always been on team unification, and I didn't say equality. Because there's some lines I draw, but that's me. You know what I'm saying? I always wondered. I've always wondered what life would be like had we as a people culturally were able to make an individual stance and not be merged effectively into this system, but to stand individual of it, but parallel. You follow what I'm saying? Like we could be in this place, but not of this place. Feel me? You know what I mean? Like what our history would look like, what our cultural exchange would look like, the lessons that we learn, how strong would our foundation in our culture be, like what would I think differently, how would I feel differently, how would our money look? You know what I'm saying? We still spend money, but we spend money like Asians spend money with each other. We spend money and stack our dollars and invest in savings and build wealth like the Caucasianoids. You get what I'm saying? Or like other people who come to this country, you get what I'm saying, that are not stumped on, kicked in, and all of the other terrible shit with opportunity. Here you go. Have this. Bam, bam. Here you go. We never, and because I wonder, you get what I'm saying? I know we were bombed. I got that. But I'm just saying, had it survived, is what I'm saying. Facebook user said we did. Black Wall Street was the time. They bombed us. I know. They bombed us. They was afraid. I'm just saying, if we had established that, we had maintained that, we were able to hold on to that, what will we look like? Like, now I'm gonna tell you, a few years ago, and because I'm again not, I don't know, fam. I try not to just lay in politics, but I stay up abreast. When there was the threat of a recession, I chuckled, and everybody was looking at me like, why are you? Well, that's not funny. People finna lose their jobs. I say they might be about to lose their jobs, but watch the growth, the instantaneous growth of entrepreneurship. There's gonna be some trials and errors, but watch what happens. Bam, 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 bam. Especially in our community. Bam, because why? Because we adapt. We make a way. We are survivors. You feel me? Like, this is what we do. We show up. We like, hey, you wanted to do? Oh, no. Okay. oh, so that's what you had decided. Say less, and this is what we're gonna take care of instead. You follow what I'm saying? Like, this is what we do. And some of us, because not all of us, and I say this, people get so mad with it. Everybody ain't a boss. It's okay. It's okay. Somebody got to be a worker bee. It's okay to be a worker bee. Be a great worker bee. You follow what I'm saying? That's not a negative thing. You understand what I'm saying? To be the man or the woman that's putting the work in, that make it do what it do, that is the bomb. You follow what I'm saying? To be the foundation of a company, to be the foundation of a business, to be the foundation of an organization. Quit playing. To know that it couldn't have happened without you, that is not an insult. And that is how we've been taught to look at, quote unquote, entry level positions. You know what I'm saying? Or the foundation is where it's at. You can be the bosses of the boss and the CEOs of all the CEOs. And if you got no people to facilitate the workings of your business, unless you're going to do it all, because eventually when you grow big enough, you're not going to be able to do it all. You're going to be in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to be in trouble. Trouble. That is not like the janitor. People talk about the janitor like that. First of all, paid is paid. You follow what I'm saying? And when you place value on the thing, like, and I look, I'm not about paying nobody outside of their value. Not to say that personally. If you come up and you show up to work and you got like you on deck customer service, you on deck, you got all your stuff in a row, you know what I'm saying? And you've created an experience for my customer, baby, you should be compensated handsomely, because you have made it, while I'm over here looking at papers and statistics and numbers and managing whatever. It was your interaction that made it so that customer said, I'll be back. You just got us some dollars. You secured our bag. Absolutely, I think they should be paid boss like. However, with attitude, rudeness, if you are not there to do the job, no, you don't deserve to be paid. I don't think you got to come to work. You don't deserve to have no job. If you're not ready to do the work, come do the work. You hear you want to be lazy, you want to be rude to people. Everything else is where your focus is. Be here, be present. You understand? You understand? You feel me? Shout out to Shay. What's up, Shaylin? What's good? She said, "Hey, Slim, thick Slim. Hey, I'm trying to get it together. Shout out to my homegirl, my sis Kimberly Carver Wilder, the ability to clock out at 5 and leave it all behind. Woo, child, baby. You understand what I'm saying? You got to think about it not one more time. Kim said, my Aunt Burns said, any job is a good one, especially when you really need one. You hear me? Go on and get these dollars. Set the stage. Be diligent in your work so you can make a way and make room for growth. Now, you don't have to do, some companies will give you experience and not give you room to grow. That's okay. Go get the experience that you need, put it down, get it in, get all the skills that you need, and then go somewhere. Take your trip on the road, that you gain the experience, that you've been the person. And then so when you leave, because it's a thing, and I know they said anybody can be replaceable. I'm trying to tell you right and now, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it with all the confidence that I can muster in my heart of hearts. You might get close. Okay, let me let the other Gemini speak, because one of us is trying to be modest. We're gonna shut her up. Let me try to explain to you. You might get close, but it's only one Patrice. It's only one me. You feel it's just me. Just this personality, just this smile, you know what I'm saying? Just this work ethic, just this hustle, just this dedication, just this one, just me, just Patrice. You follow what I'm saying? No, you might get close. You feel me? Because ain't nobody gonna talk to you like I do, love you like I do, be there like I am, build with you like nobody. And that is in every. So I am irreplaceable. You might get close, fam, but you definitely gonna know that I was there, and you'll miss me when I'm gone. And that is in every aspect of my life. You heard what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm saying what I'm saying. What I'm saying, girl, go on, shut up, little girl. Little modest chick over here, little modest Gemini. Listen, shush. Ain't no, listen. I love me. I acknowledge with the full blessing of the universe and the Most High God every bit of the experience that I have, and I am thankful. I am so thankful for every job, every time, every exchange, you follow me, everyone, you heard me? Because they have made me exactly who I am. For every love, every broken heart, every build, every license, because I got plenty. You follow what I'm saying? All of that, irreplaceable. Now you can get close and you're going to get what you get. I'm trying to say you're going to still probably be able to get some stuff done, but it won't be the same. And I stand on that 130. That's welcome to 2021. Straight up. Welcome to it. welcome. Kim said, not true. You follow what I'm saying, baby? Andrea said, send a shout out for all of those of us who work a 9-to-5 and run a home-based business. I respect both roles very much. You follow what I'm saying? Hey, Andrea, there you go, mama. Kim said, now a real boss knows that is not fucking true. Listen, look at I'm irreplaceable. You heard me? You heard what she said. Talk your shit, Pete. Hey, you hear me? Imitators have tried to duplicate, but nah, come through. Try it. And I mean that in every aspect. Now, don't get me wrong. Play us fuck up. Because I'm not perfect. You get what I'm saying? But I am perfectly who I am meant to be. And in any space that there is room for growth and development, I'm in it. Anytime that I can get better and more and do more and be more and build more, I'm there. Because success is contingent upon this happening. You feel what I'm saying? And the success of the product that we are on contingent upon me doing my job, baby. Guess who doing the job? She's showing up. She's showing up, and that is what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying about when you step into a place of environment. Don't get me wrong. There will be people who will try to manipulate. There will be people who try to take advantage of. There is going to happen. Oh, you here? Oh, she work all the hours. Come get these hours. Absolutely. And you manage there and you do your job. You do it until it's time to take your show on the road to somebody who's going to appreciate you and honor you for what it is that you bring to the table. But that don't mean show up at work and become lackluster. Don't do that. Cause that what they say trill, that ain't what it is, fam. It ain't what it is. Shay said, I think that's normal. I've been doing that. Cause exactly. I'm trying to explain. You know what I mean? And then just be okay in that. You get what I'm saying? Look how that tie right into, you know what I'm saying, today's word of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's micromanage. Micromanage your shit the same way you micromanage everybody else's. Handle it. Take care of you. Cross your T's. Dot your I's. You know what I'm saying? So that you can move in a space of excellence the same way that you are commanding, the same that you have been demanding it from somebody else. When you cross your T's and dot your I's and get your stuff together, your energy, you don't got to say a word. I just had this conversation this past weekend with my brother. You don't got to command it. You don't have to say nothing. When a general walks into the room, what happened? I'm not going to even say that. I'm gonna ask somebody going to say something. What happens in the military, or period? In the military, what happens when a general walks into the room? I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna read this comment. And somebody gonna answer that question. When a general walks into a room, a commander, an officer walks into a room, what happens? And then we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna break that down for y'all right quick. Lucretia said, nope. Say it louder for the people in the back. I say that about myself all the time. I've had a few former employers find that out, baby. Hashtag. What you say? What? The Leo in me. Come on, girl. I see you. Cheryl said, which I'm texting here at work. That's cool. Glad you got it. I got it. I got you, sis. I got you. What did you say, Ty? We pay attention. When a general walks into a room, when a commander walks into a room, you understand what I'm saying? When an officer walks into the room comes to attention. Automatically, they ain't got to say nothing. Not a word. You know what I'm saying? And then Ty said, and they wait for instructions. You follow what I'm saying? They wait for, but they don't have to say, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. I'm here. Hello. I'm the commander. Hello. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Hey, I'm the boss. I'm in charge here. Somebody look at me. It don't happen like that. It don't happen like that. He walk in, somebody else be like, hey, yo. If y'all missing it, somebody missing it, somebody else is on. If you are missing it, somebody else is on deck already to let you know. Hey, just so you know. That right there, that's what's happening. Somebody else is there. The commander. That is the difference between demanding something and commanding something. The commander he says nothing. He don't walk into the room like, what's on it? You see what it is? You see what it is? Not a word said. You heard me? Not a word said, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing in every aspect of your life. You get what I'm saying? If you have to require somebody to pound on somebody's head, pound on somebody's energy to pay attention to what you're doing, you know something right. It's okay. And that's okay. You got to figure out what that is. You got to figure out what it is. If you just be. You understand what I'm saying? If you just be, come on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Shay said, you know, I work for the military. Don't matter who you think you are, who you are. I think that's it. It gets like a church mouse. You say, I got you. See, I got that, Shay, too. It doesn't matter who you think you are. It gets like a church mouse. It be going out. There's a party going on. The commander walk in the room. The music stop. Folks, stop. You feel me? Bam. Attention. It happens. It happens. But that is with every aspect of your life. You don't have to demand anything. You don't have to force anybody to do or be or want or none of that. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. When you have to pin somebody down and make them, you have no time for that. You know how much energy you just wasted? You know how much time you just wasted? Psst. Cut it out. Cut it out. No, you don't listen. And then people say, well, we going into 2021 all your life. Screw that. We not 2021, January 5th, tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I know it's coming. I'm gonna be ready. I'm getting ready for it. What is you getting ready for? Either is you is or is you ain't gonna do it. You understand what I'm saying? What it is? You gonna do it or not? You understand what I'm saying? It is what it is. Is you gonna do it or not? When you put your shoes on, you don't be like, I'm gonna put my foot in the left shoe just to see what it do. I'm gonna put my right foot in the left shoe just to see. No, fam. Nobody is doing that. It's not happening. You put the foot in the shoe that is coordinated with the foot for the shoe. You follow what I'm saying? That's what it is. You put the foot in the shoe that's coordinated with the foot for the shoe. When you are driving down the streets, it's signs everywhere. Nobody in the right capacity, right mental capacity says, I'm just going to dip down this one way, headed north, headed south. Nobody. Unless you're trying to go to jail or cause an accident, disrupt the flow of life and put yourself in a negative aspect. Who wants it? Y'all not feeling what I'm saying. Y'all not feeling what I'm saying. I hear y'all, and I know y'all think I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think of it. Ride on it. I stand on it. I said what I said, and I meant what I meant. I forgot to go live on Instagram. I'm gonna do that next time. I'm gonna do that. Welcome to Monday, y'all. Welcome to Mondays with Live with JustPatrice. I'm excited to have y'all here. I'm excited to be here with y'all. It's good energy. We flowing. You know what I'm saying? Today's word of the day is micromanage. You did what I'm saying? We'll have plenty of those coming up. We're going to keep track. As a matter of fact, I'm going to charge y'all to keep track or run back the shows at the end of the quarter and see what that looks like. I'm a contest, all type of stuff, whatever the case may be. We gonna do it. Ty said go live now. I can't add it. Let me see if I can add it. Let me see if it'll let me add to it. No, not on the platform that I'm on right now, but I could use my phone. I'll have to do it another time and I'll share it. How about that? I'm gonna figure it out. Right now, I'm on all these platforms. We're gonna work it out. You're right. I'm just saying. So again, I encourage y'all to call in. I want your feedback. Like I'm talking. I see y'all chopping it up in exchange. I love that. I love the text messages. I love it more. I'm going to do it. I don't have the platform right now. when I do it, I'm gonna add it. Don't worry about it. I love it more when you call in, is what I'm saying. Like, call me, talk to me, 414-885-4739. That's what the number is for. I know people just, I want to talk. I just want to type. That's why it's safe back there. Stop being safe for everything. And so today I said, so a word of the day and a message of the day. I'm gonna try to stay on top of that so I can stay consistent in my focus, because you know when you do all these things, it's me and you and us. You got what I'm saying? Like I don't do everything just for y'all. I learn from each one of these conversations I'm building. We talking, we growing. together. Like y'all exchange builds me, and I'm hoping that the information and the conversation that I have deposits something of a blessing for you as well. Okay, so today's message of the day, so we did the word of the day. The word of the day is micromanage. Okay, the message of the day is, I know some of y'all not gonna like this. Okay, ready? Just because you can do something don't mean that you should do it. Let me just lean. I'm gonna sit there right there. Right quick. Let me sit there. Go ahead. Sit right there. I'm gonna drink a little bit of this. Be clear. Shout out to Mighty the nurse. Again, I'm gonna say it one more time before I take the sip. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. Y'all feel me though? I mean, I'm gonna give a small example. And this is so light and petty. Okay, this is so ridiculous. I can take out the garbage. I can. I know how to put the bag together and wrap it up, make sure all the stuff is inside, and I even know how to sort. Put the plastics where they go. You follow what I'm saying? But just because you can, you are able to do something doesn't mean that you got to make better decisions, y'all. You have to make better decisions and think about what the outcome is going to be. There is consequence for everything. And sometimes consequence is not a bad thing. I say that all the time. But just because you can do something don't mean you should be doing it. Like, are you serious? Like, what was you thinking? And I'm all about growing in a space of self-care. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Taking care of the things that you need and doing what feels good, what makes sense. But all of these things got to check all the boxes. Go on and just check all the boxes. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to hurt. Shout out to Facebook user for the amen to you too. Yes. You get what I'm saying? Say that, scream it, and put on a banner, fly to the sky. Listen, I'm you know, it's not, and I want to say, well, you know, as you get older, because it is that, but it ain't. You follow what I'm saying? The truth of the matter is, it just makes sense to either do or not. And when you don't, or when you do, you understand what I'm saying? When you do, please understand that you can't just be mad because there are consequences to your behavior. All consequences are not bad, but it's still a consequence. The consequences mean an outcome, a result of action. Every action, creates a reaction. Come every time. That's just the law of physics, fam. It's going to happen. You get what I'm saying? You might not see it all. You might miss some of it, but it went down. You heard me? Shout out to my homegirl, Monique. How you doing, sis? Glad to have you join the conversation. She said, where's the offering plate in my tambourine? Come on now. Yes, have the plate. It's a thing, y'all. We not just for 2021, but for life. Is it not time to be making better decisions? Is it not time to consider the outcome and think about what your actions are generating, not just based on how you feel, but what you know is going to happen? Like, I'm just going to dip through these lights until I hit somebody, or I might not hit somebody. Who's to say? How about, why are you taking that chance, not only with your life, but with somebody else's? I'm just going to eat this bag of bagels, knowing that, I'm going to try to work it off later. You know what's going to happen with them carbs? It's going to sit on your belly. It's going to sit in your fupas. Trust me, I know. It's going to sit there. You understand what I'm saying? You know what? I decided I'm just not going to take my medicine anymore. It's okay. Have we considered that, like, thoroughly? Did you consider all the possibilities and the outcomes and the what's of that? No, nobody. Okay, you just decided you was gonna do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna, be out here, living la vida loca with no concerns and no regard to nobody, because I mean consequences don't happen. The devil is a lie. Something's gonna happen. Everybody don't always get away, and even if you get away in the moment, there is a consequence. And because karma is real, it's so real, y'all. It's so real. You feel me? Karma is a thing. And I want y'all to be made aware that karma is a whole thing. And once you do something, you set it's automatic. It's just set things into motion. It's automatic. You understand what I'm saying? I turned on this power equipment and it started sending a signal. Now, what I do with the signal is on me, which is going to determine it. So now here I am. I'm talking, talking y'all ears off, bugging y'all in the midst of the day, and y'all hanging out here with me. Lucky me. But right before that, all this shit was falling up down. You understand what I'm saying? All of my electronics was acting a whole fool, and I was like, "What? We not sure what's exactly gonna happen." But we're going to show up as best we can, and we're going to do what we do. I'm going to tell you, the end of 2020 taught me perseverance. You know what I'm saying? I learned it in 1993 in Whitewater. I learned the power of perseverance. And 2020 put it to the test. You heard me? 2019, I had a knee surgery. 2020, did I have I don't even know when it was. Sometime in March, I think it was. It's all a blur. It's all a blur. Yeah, just surgery. But what are you going to do to get to the end of the year? What are you going to do? You get what I'm saying? To keep moving. Do we just lay here and we lay flat, we lay prostrate, and we just be taken by the world? Be taken by circumstance? You know what I'm saying? And I heard my homeboy Devon D say this all the time. You know what I'm saying? Tell him I said it. You know what I'm saying? He said, stop letting life happen to you. Stop letting life happen to you. Be intentional. Baby, listen. Be intentional. Monique said, baby, you understand? That's it right there. Auntie Rita, hey, welcome to Mondays. Good afternoon and Happy New Year to you as well. Welcome to Mondays, y'all. I'm excited that the platform has moved to this awesome first day jumpstart, the day of your week. Great conversation, of course, in all the feels, just like you like it with JustPatrice. You dig what I'm saying? Because we're going to go through all the feelings. We're going to get all the emotions. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about everything, though. Everything. Even though I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? The little orange dude who is a whole mess. We'll talk about him too. You get what I'm saying? Before we go any further, again, micromanaging. I want to talk about, just very briefly, because I don't know if my heart can handle it. There were, I believe, if I looked at the right statistics, 189 homicides in Milwaukee last year. January 1, December 31st, 2020. 189 homicides. Okay? I'm going to just let y'all process that. Dude, that's almost doubled what it was in 2019. Shout out to Diana Villarreal. Hey, Lay, thank you very much for the love. I appreciate that. Almost double. And I'm going to tell you, honestly, and I cannot believe that they are saying this. I read one report that says that there was a national increase of homicides, a 24% national increase of homicides. And guess what they blamed it on? Oh, go ahead. No. Seriously. Go ahead. Y'all guess. I'm gonna give y'all a second to just go to guess what they blaming it on. I cannot believe it. I was like, okay, you know what? Some stuff is just ridiculous. But I'm gonna give y'all just go on and take a guess. Take a wild guess. Go ahead. I'm gonna give y'all a second. I know it's a small delay in the broadcast. That's cool. I'm gonna give you a second to go on and process that. 189 homicides from January 1 to December 31, 2020, which is almost double from what it was in 2019. Nationwide, that's a 24% increase. Nationwide, there was a 24% increase in homicides all around the world, all around the country. I'm gonna tell you. Let me. I want y'all to guess what they blamed it on. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna just go on and give you a quick second. Let y'all process that. Go on and get that information, and tell me what y'all think they blamed it on. Because I was like, get. Oh, but do you mean it though? And they do. They did. You get what I'm saying? They absolutely do. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to see. Anybody? I'm gonna wait. I know it's a little bit of a delay, so I'm gonna give y'all a second. Because I want to know what you think that they blamed it on. Because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you know what? It's all kind of things that could be held accountable for that. Ooh wee. Hey Tane, how you doing? Long time no see, Pumpkin. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody? Okay. Nobody? Happy New Year, Jamal. Happy New Year. Glad to have you join the conversation. I appreciate that. Happy belated birthday. Yes, Tatiana. They blamed it on COVID. COVID. You tell me. Yeah, pandemic lock in. Yeah. Yeah, they blamed it on pandemic and COVID. And they said that tensions were higher. And just one of the reports that I read, I couldn't. I'm like, are y'all serious? So tensions were higher. People were more stressed, is what they said. And so there were more killings, more homicides, more reason like and this is after like the rate increased dramatically, of course, after there was a shutdown, and then they did they removed all the restrictions, most of the restrictions, and put some new limitations on social gatherings and things like that, or whatever the case may be. And they did they blamed COVID. Like I couldn't believe that that they thought that would like how sway. Like how sway. Like just like and I don't talk about social depravity and economic struggles, because my views on a lot of that are just not common. Like a lot of people be like thinking I'd be tripping. You get what I'm saying? And I ain't mad about I don't be mad about it, but they be mad about it. Happy New Year to you, to Tang. I appreciate you. Thank you. I want us to be better. And I mean, I can't speak for everybody. So I want the people that I love. I could offer an explanation, but it's too much to text. 414-885-4739. 414-885-4739. You're welcome to call in, Jamal. I hear some of the things that I've read, and when I say I hear it, I'm taking in the information. I understand where some of these conclusions are being drawn. I just, my opinion differs. And I mean, you can't really argue with facts. So if that's the facts, then so be it. I just have a different of opinion. And it's not typically a popular one. And so I'm going to say that and leave it at that. But Jamal, if you'd like to call in, you're welcome to 414-885-4739. Area code 414-885-4739. You get what I'm saying? I just, it's crazy. Like, so what year is that? Let me see. So that 189, and maybe I missed it, and I'm just going by what I was reading. Set a I see you, sir. Set a new record.
Call from Jamal Smith. To accept, press 1.
Hold on 1 second, love. I'll be right with you. That 189 set a record. Again, since 1991. Like, so we talking a good, is that 20 years? Am I counting wrong? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, like, damn. But anyway, so I have Jamal Smith is on the line. I want to thank you for logging on to blowradio.com. You are officially live with JustPatrice. Hey, Jamal, how you doing, pup?
Doing well. How you doing?
Awesome. Doing well. How you doing?
What's going on?
What's going on? Let me
Here we go.
Let me change my voice.
Okay, let me change mine. Hey, what's going on?
Don't do it. I'm just kidding. Hey, love, how are you?
I'm pretty good, darling. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate that. So give me a little bit on that. Like, cause I try to, my thought process is just, it's not popular, and I understand that. But I can't argue with facts. And you know what I'm saying? People come to the table with facts. You'd be like, I understand that my opinion is not facts. So what you got for me, Jamal?
Well, let me start. And the reason for the wonderful audience, I am the violence prevention manager for the City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention. So
that's right.
A lot of what we do is centered around what you are discussing today. And, when people talk about the impact of COVID, like, we saw an increase not only in homicides, but we saw an increase in substance abuse. We saw an increase in domestic violence incidents. But ironically, we also saw a major increase in terms of gun purchases, ammunition purchases, and the likes. So we've seen more guns on the streets this year than we've seen in many years. And much of that was centered around a lot of the messaging that came in the beginning of the year before COVID really caused the major shutdown of saying, people need to protect themselves, because when this shutdown happens, and there's going to be a lot of people who are losing jobs, a lot of people who are losing access to income, who may be getting evicted, who may not have access in terms of getting the resources they need, whether it's grocery shopping or whatever, not able to pay their bills. So people are going to be coming after others. So there were a lot of conflicting messages that came up, and we saw a lot of homicides even kick off during the stay-at-home order. It wasn't just, something that happened after the restrictions were lifted or anything, but really that week right after the stay-at-home order was implemented, and the week right before, when there was a talk of that, and people had started losing jobs even before the stay-at-home order, people started getting furloughed and laid off. We saw the percentages start to rise then. So, a lot of it, I know that people have different, opinions in terms of the impact of COVID. COVID really exacerbated what was already a problem.
Okay.
Not trying to say that COVID caused this. COVID took it to another level. But, and Milwaukee didn't see just increases. Milwaukee's not the only city that saw increases across the country.
Oh,
Chicago
absolutely,
saw it.
absolutely. It was the 24%, like literally, and the national increase overall, literally, not just compared to
Right.
Milwaukee, but nationally, there was an increase across the board of about 24%.
Mhm. But even in Milwaukee, prior from 2015 to 2019, we had saw historic decreases in homicides, with 18 and 19 are homicides being under 100. So there was just this trajectory of a decrease. Now I know there's a difference between violence and safety and the perception of safety. You can't tell a grieving mother or a grieving father that violence has decreased when they lost their child to violence. That's not an argument that you can really use. But at the same time, in terms of the overall grand scheme, there was a major decrease in terms of homicide numbers. And then here comes COVID, and then now this took it to a whole nother level. So I it's just like the level of stress, of anxiety, of anger, of frustration, of deprivation, all of that got increased to other levels. I mean, hell, we haven't seen a pandemic in this country in over 100 years, and none of us know anything about adjusting to a pandemic. So even with the things that we've dealt with in our communities, as far as the social deprivation that existed prior to the pandemic took it to another level.
Okay.
So, and just like even with the homicides increasing, across the board, substance abuse took off, even in communities like Waukesha County, right? And Waukesha County is the richest county in the state and one of the richest in the Midwest region. And
Really?
they even saw major increases in drug overdoses.
Okay.
So, it hit people in different ways, but it had a major impact.
You still there?
But
okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, we can't. You said, but it had a major, and I think it's major impact. Was it?
Yeah, there was a major impact in all types of communities in different ways across the board. So it was drug abuse increasing, or drug overdoses increasing there, homicides increasing here, with drug abuse also increasing, alcohol abuse increasing, substance abuse increasing. We saw a lot of people who got evicted because the CDC guidelines were talking about rent moratoriums, but the majority of people didn't know that you had to sign a declaration saying that you needed a rent moratorium in order to not be evicted. That wasn't explained. So even during the rent moratorium, people were being evicted and had no idea why they were being evicted if it was during a moratorium. So there was so many conflicting messages, so many misleading stories in terms of services that need to be provided, or not being clear on services that need to be provided. And all the while, people are still trying to figure out, where the hell do I get all this toilet paper from? And not knowing that there's so much more bigger than just this damn toilet paper, because of the fact that people were just losing access to everything.
Okay.
Even quicker. So that's why I said it didn't create an issue. It took it to another level that we haven't seen in this country.
Okay.
So that's really been a lot of what we focused on in prevention. Our angle in terms of violence prevention is looking at it from a public health lens. So how are we ensuring? Because that's more about prevention than intervention. We know that by the time the police are called, hell, stuff has already happened.
Yeah.
So we're talking about prevention. How are we making sure that affordable housing is available? What are we doing in terms of education equity? What are we doing in terms of mental health services? How do we address homelessness? How do we address substance abuse? How do we get more versus in treatment aspect versus a punishment aspect when it comes to substance abuse? Like, all of those different aspects are focused on prevention without a lens of looking at it through a punitive measure or trying to put people in prison. But we know that because of all of those social determinants of health that were majorly impacted during this pandemic, that automatically increases the opportunity for risky behaviors to happen even more. And then you couple that with the fact that the access to guns and ammunition took off even more than what we had already seen, whether it was legal or illegal. Guns everywhere. So Now we've got all these guns. I mean, most people don't know that this country, America, is the largest supplier of guns and ammunition in the world.
Of course.
So we have so much access. The way that we've sensationalized access to guns and guns themselves, and just the ways in which they're being spread across neighborhoods and within this country. Now here's this pandemic. Now people are like really on trying to get more guns, more access to ammunition than what was necessary.
I agree, and I'm only saying that I agree with that because I was looking for some bullets and I couldn't find any. Like seriously,
Oh, absolutely.
I was like,
Absolutely.
I'm like, is this a joke? Like, so we just got all, so the weapons available, kind of, and depending on the kind, like literally the handheld firearms, the smaller compact firearms, were not available, and all the majorly all the illegal stuff, all the big guns, rifles, shotguns, automatic rifles, all of that available. Stock. You follow me?
But the irony of that is the majority of the homicides that happen within all communities happen with handguns.
Of course.
They're not even right. So now you got everybody talking about you got to protect yourself, or you got to increase your supply even more because there's going to be even more dangers in the street. You got to be worried about public safety even more. Then you had everybody going out and buying ammunition for handguns.
Buying guns and not learning how to use them.
I mean, buying guns and not even knowing how to use them.
Yeah, that's
terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we saw probably in those 2-3 weeks where the stay-at-home order was first implemented, there was about a 45-50% increase in both gun purchases and background checks for the CCW.
Okay.
A major increase. So everybody went after guns. So now you got all these guns all over the place. And then when you have that much of a booming economy of one entity that's being purchased so much, there's always going to be a black market.
Understood.
Of that same entity. So
Understood.
Now you got other people who buying it under the table, or you don't even have to buy it under a table. Just go to a private gun show.
Indeed, and just buy it. Exactly.
And just buy it. Wisconsin's an open carry state, so you don't have to have a CCW technically. As long as your gun is displayed, you're good.
You know, I'm. It's so funny that you said that. I have to lean in on the screen real quick because you know how many people don't know that.
I know they don't.
I'm like y'all out here talking about something. You do know that you can have a gun. CCW means it's concealed carry. You got to get a license to carry it in private so that nobody see it. Because otherwise you got to have it so people can see, hey, he got a gun, she got a gun. You need to be able to see it. You're supposed to be able to see it. However, they license the ability to be able to do so to carry and protect yourself with a level of privacy or anonymity. You get what I'm saying?
Anonymity.
And with that being the case, people's like, oh, I got to get my CC dubs. I'm like, okay.
I mean, if you want to.
If you want to. You know what I'm saying? Take the extra class. You want to just carry them out on your hip. Just don't bring it in the building like you're not supposed to and move the clip. Period. But, you know, that's just, you know, some of us like guns. And so I study a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I like them. I respect the power of that. And I would, before I even began to carry, it was years before I had to get my whole attitude in check. Cause you know, you have to be, it's a responsibility. Like, and it changes everything. Having access to one changes the way you see and think every situation. Straight up. And if your mind is not together when you do that, that is how so many situations happen.
That's how many situations happen. So now, if there's a mental instability before a pandemic, imagine what happens during.
Okay, so I got. Never mind. I'm just gonna stick with what you're saying.
Come. No,
because I mean, because I feel like, I mean, I know that there was a series of mental instability already before the pandemic started. You know what I mean? And the way we were handling these people And I say these people, I mean the people who have mental instabilities. And I'm not talking about a specific race. I mean, period. Because it ain't just black people that's got mental issues. And let me tell you, it's not as bad as you think. It's more severe than you think outside of our race as well. And a lot of people just don't. It's not addressed as well. And I get
that's not the narrative.
Exactly. They think it's just us, and we just only crazy. But that's another story. Y'all know that's not the case. Okay, let me settle back. What I'm saying is, so are we saying that the ability to that we don't not having limited access to resources, and fear have contributed to increased homicides?
Wait, repeat that again. You went in and out.
Are we saying that reduced resources and fear is what contributed to the almost doubling of homicides?
I think that when you talk about there's a difference between reduced and damn near non-existent. Like, I think reduced was prior to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, it was damn near non-existent for many people. Now, you still had some that were able to thrive, or that were able to, survive and thrive through the pandemic. But you had a lot of people who were not.
And are we saying that it's those people who were committing the homicides?
The majority of them.
Okay.
You have some who just don't, that doesn't line up with every homicide. But it's not just the fact of the limited resources or the fear aspect. Like, for example, when the man killed his whole family at the beginning of the year, last year, the 5-person homicide, there was some strong mental instability. That dude was really going through much.
Yes, he was.
Within his own mind, right? That's the same thing for the guy that killed all the people at Milwaukee, right? So the Milwaukee shooting is outside of what was happening within our own communities, but it still goes under homicides within Milwaukee, obviously. But what it showed was this is not even just something that's happening for people within deprived, marginalized, disenfranchised communities. This is just happening, period, because everybody is being impacted to some degree within this pandemic. And we talk about that within our the blueprint for peace. I'm talking about risk factors versus resilient factors.
Okay.
Right. So there's so many, so many risk factors that comes up really when you talk about that will increase the likelihood for violence. Right. So limited employment and economic opportunities is one. Right. Lack of access to resources, which you brought up, or that lack was already there prior to the pandemic. Segregation or taking away opportunities from particular areas, dealing with lack of quality housing, disconnectedness between residents and institutions. All of those can contribute to increased risk factors because of the fact of how they impact the social determinants of health and somebody's quality of life. So now you take that with the impact of a pandemic. And like I said, it looks totally different in different areas, because as we're talking about homicides here, we also need to be talking about the impact of increased suicide in other parts of the state. Okay. Right. So the majority of suicides that happen within the state of Wisconsin, as we talk about gun-related deaths, the biggest percentage of gun-related deaths in Wisconsin are by suicide, and those are happening majority in white communities. Okay. So, not to make it seem like it's cool that, hell, they're killing themselves. We're killing each other. It's cool. I'm not trying to make it seem like that. But what I am saying is the way in which stress, anxiety, or whatever characteristic you want to put on that is elevated when you see such a pandemic that has a huge impact on the economic aspect of how we live and how we're supposed to survive.
Okay, so let me ask this. Okay. Because basically, like, so the idea of entrepreneurship, we clearly it's not for everyone. Obviously, otherwise everybody would be exploring the idea. Some people require for emotional and mental stability, um, a stable work environment, work,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, a dependable, quote unquote, dependable job, you know what I'm saying, careers that
Right.
are going to provide a sustainable as well as a income that you can count on. Okay, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that so that I can really focus on the idea, so that when that is removed, some people didn't know what to do. They freaked out,
Absolutely.
they panicked, and the average person who would not necessarily have um gone out and caused harm to someone may have been emotionally, mentally forced into a space of panic, and then it could have, i.e., the situation that happened at in those mass shootings,
Mm-hmm.
or something. Maybe they panicked, whatever the case may be. I think that understanding the differences in how and where these particular homicides were taking place, instead of trying to group them into one category, like, you know what I'm saying, they say homicide and then people already think that folks on the streets is being murdered. You follow what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, it's just it's just that one thing. But I think understanding the variance of dynamics of what each, where these comes from, like you said, a homicide is, even because suicide is grouped into the homicides. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's committed, like gun deaths. You get what I'm saying? And all of this is put in there because of what it is. But people hear this information, and I don't mean just me, because I pick it apart. I just don't like to. You know what I'm saying? But to
Mm-hmm.
understand the differences in, okay, so all these people was not just in the hood being shot up, folks. You understand what I'm
No.
saying? It was
Right. Right.
not
Right.
like that. Like, there were other things that were happening, and then people who are not already impoverished didn't just decide, well, since we already don't got nothing and things are already hard for us, we just gonna start killing up people. That didn't happen either. You understand what I'm saying? So the
Mm-hmm.
increase was a whole other, not whole other, but typically a different statistic of person who decided also, you get what I'm saying, to join in on and I'm not saying that with any joy, you get what I'm saying, to join in on that particular statistic. So now we got a whole nother group of people who are committing this crime.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying? I'm asking. So now we have a whole
Is
nother
that
group
what I'm
of
saying?
people that are committing this
Yeah. It's
crime.
not
You,
just
you know what I'm saying?
the majority. Yeah, the majority of us is not. I mean, even with there being a greater proportion of it's still a greater portion of Black men that are being killed within our community. Like, that's not an argument, right? But at the same time, there also has to be a conversation that it's not that all the homicides are not just happening because it's not just happening because of us, or we're not the only ones that are participating in it. But I think what we have seen is, within, just looking from 2019 to 2020, there had been so many efforts that, okay, here's a great example. So from 2015 to 2019, we saw that there were many efforts in terms of social services that were being more responsive in terms of community needs. We saw more violence prevention efforts. We saw a lot more after school programs that were on the rise. We saw many programs that were focusing on the recreation aspects, so young people had places to go. We saw that coming back. We saw a lot of areas that were being funded where there were being some changes that were making, which I think actually contribute to that 4-year decline in homicides. Did we have problems with non-fatal shootings still? Yep. But even in that, we saw declines in non-fatal shootings as we did in homicide.
That is true.
Well, now here we are. Now here we are in 2020. All those programs stopped. After school programs are gone. Recreation programs are gone. Hell, people were looking forward to the MPS basketball games happening this fall, happening this winter. They canceled that. Like, all of that type of programming, all the sports programming, whatever funding into social service programs, nonprofit orgs that were actually doing work within our neighborhood, that cut. So a lot of people were not able to provide the services that they had been prior to this pandemic, the 4 years leading to. Right. So now, in addition to there not being this access to these resources that were necessary for communities to thrive, now programs that were actually working with families and working with their children, those were also cut. So now it's like, we got to figure this out. But there's nothing out there where we can go, which can show us exactly where we need to go. And to your point about entrepreneurs,
You breaking up, son. You broke up. You broke up, love.
You hear me now?
Yeah, you said to your point, and that's all we heard.
I was like, to your point about the entrepreneurship, we saw in terms of what the African Chamber of Commerce was trying to do with their Rise Up program. We know what the Black Chamber of Commerce was working on, but they even saw cuts. So it's like, there's been so much, first off, this really brought out the real impact of the formula of funding in terms of really supporting organizations doing quality work in deprived communities. Who's getting the money, who's not getting the money. That's what I said, this pandemic, this exposed a lot more than just homicides, violence, however we want to talk about violence. This did more than just expose the impact of violence itself. It showed the impact of systemic, structural, and institutional violence as well.
And when you say that, you mean?
I mean,
I lost you again, Jay. Hello? Are you there? I'm gonna give you a minute. Okay. So hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, but whatever. I don't know what's happening, but like you keep cutting out. So like the last 5 seconds of what you said is cut out.
Okay. So in terms of like governmental funding, and I'm not talking about
that
impact on communities.
When I start talking again, is because I can't hear you. Like you start talking,
I'm going out.
Yeah, and you went completely out. Like I'm so sad because I feel like I want to hear that, but now I feel like I'm being picked on. I want them to stop. Luckily, we not garnered by the FCC because it's not them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about. You said it was pointing out what type of violence. Did he hang up? I think it hung up. So I'm gonna give him a minute to call back, and hopefully I'll pay attention. Like I love having these conversations, and again, I'm all for facts. You follow what I'm saying? I'm all for facts, and because I have a very strong, opinionated outlook on a lot of things. I also know very well how to listen to facts and take into the account of, let me see what we're actually working with here. Let's see what we're facing, as opposed to, I can't think on the level of being able to offer. I got you. Hold on 1 second. On the fact of being able to just say, well, this is what I think and this is how I feel, and so that's what it is. Because I don't do that. I do give my opinion, and I always say this is my opinion. However, you know what I'm saying? It's not law, because my opinion is not law. When I have the ability to be able to exchange with people like Jamal, who has the knowledge and the information to provide facts and statistics, like I want to know the meat of what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's not just covered up by my opinion. And I appreciate you calling in and for you calling back. I appreciate that. Let's hope that our connection isn't with more to it.
Well, I'm on the office phone now, so we should be good.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's talk about, you said it also showed you said systemic violence. Is that what you called it?
Yeah. So there's always, when there are conversations about the ways in which we address violence, I think we look at violence from a singular approach without examining the complexity of violence.
Okay.
So it's easy to have a conversation about homicides, non-fatal shootings, domestic violence, sexual assault, abuse, all of that. And those obviously need to be addressed. But there also has to be a conversation around the impact of systemic and structural institutional violence. And a lot of that is talking about, one, the ways in which employment opportunities have been intentionally removed from particular communities, mostly BIPOC community, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, but mostly Black communities. The ways in which education is being instructed within communities of color versus non-Black communities. The way in which we're still having conversations about racial equity and racial injustice, right? Whether that's in the criminal justice system, whether that's in dealing with police or law enforcement, but violence is not just happening within criminal justice and the police, but we also have to have a conversation about education. You got to have a conversation about employment, about housing, right? The fact that Black home ownership in the city of Milwaukee is, I believe, it's not even 30%. Actually, it's actually substantially lower than that. I'm not even sure it's 20.
Okay.
So now imagine we have the largest school district in the state and one of the largest in the Midwest region, the Milwaukee Public Schools. Public school systems really thrive off of property taxes.
Okay.
So if you have a large percentage of people within a city that don't own homes and therefore not paying property taxes, and they're getting funding, and that district is getting funding just from, whether that's state or federal funding, but it's not really growing in terms of property taxes, then that's an actual strain on that school district.
So are you saying that the people
doing everything?
So the people that own the houses are not required to pay property taxes?
Although that they are. That's where that's what I'm saying. The property taxes are really what goes into putting money into MPS.
Okay, so
what I'm saying is the fact that we have a lot of people who do not.
Okay, so just let me back up. So just because they're not Black owned homes and the Black people are not paying the taxes, are the taxes still not being paid?
But the majority of the people within the city are Black.
Who's paying the taxes?
And the Black home ownership is still low.
So let me just ask. So who's paying the taxes though?
I mean, I didn't say we didn't have any homeowners.
So
there are homeowners that are paying the taxes, but a great comparison would be if you look at if you were juxtapose Milwaukee to like Brookfield.
Okay.
Right. The average median income in Milwaukee is $36,000 a year.
That's terrible.
The average median income within Brookfield is $170,000 a year.
Okay.
So a lot of the people within Brookfield clearly own their homes, right? Versus how home ownership is not as grand in Milwaukee as it is in Brookfield. And then now you couple it to the fact that you've had actual banks like Associated Bank that intentionally denied potential Black homeowners access to mortgage loans at higher rates than white families, even though they were similarly qualified. So we saw that practice, and that just happened in 2015 from Associated Bank, to where they had to pay over $250 million based on that practice. So we know that that's happening on a grand scale, and that's just talking about home ownership and housing. There's other aspects within systems and structures and how they operate, which also contribute to or should be another conversation in terms of violence, right? It can't just be talking about what happens in terms of a shooting or a suicide or domestic violence. We have to look at violence from a whole different lens outside of just what happens physically, which is why we talk about examining violence from a whole public health lens. Okay,
so we're in the violence we're talking about. So just so I can be clear, and then I can help to make it a little clearer. We're talking about the violence of mistreatment towards people of color and the lack of fairness or equity for being able to become homeowners in the area that they live in. Am I correct?
That's part of it, but yes.
Okay, well that so from that area, whatever. So my question still is if that reflective in the property taxes to be paid in to sustain the school system, so what have you the case may be. So are the taxes not being paid, or is it just not being the homes are just not being owned by the people who are living there and attend their children whose children are attending these schools?
Taxes are being paid, but you also have to include in the fact of the value of the property as well, not just the home itself. Right. So that's the conversation. That's just like in Boys in the Hood where he talks about gentrification. Right. We have an issue of gentrification here.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, so gentrification doesn't automatically mean displacement, but the fact is there is an issue of gentrification in Milwaukee. So knowing that there are certain areas that the values are not necessarily, the property values are not exactly as high in because a lot of the areas in which we own homes are in neighborhoods that would be deemed high risk. That's that whole idea of, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the book, The Color of Law, but when they talk about redlining and how redlining still impacts us today in some areas and where there's a lot of home owners within our neighborhoods, those are areas that are still deemed high risk. So the values in those areas are considered not to be as high either. So in addition to the fact that we're not owning homes, you have a lot of, think about, there's a laundry list of properties that the city owns that people don't, right? So there are homes that are just sitting there in many of the areas that we're talking about. So between the low level of home ownership plus the impact of gentrification, which brings down those property values, like those are all the things that goes into how things are being funded across the city, including Milwaukee Public Schools. And you see the difference in how the funding is happening in MPS versus the way it's happening in other areas. Now, do I still think there needs to be some changes within MPS? Yep, because I don't think they're off the hook. Like there's some practices within MPS that has me like, man, y'all, first off, y'all need to stop paying all of those daggone regional superintendents $155,000 and they ain't doing jack. That's a whole nother conversation as well. But at the same time, when we talk about the impact of how there's this dependency, and this has been like a national conversation too, as far as depending so much on property taxes, the property value and home ownership, especially within urban communities, and how that impacts the urban school districts. That's a national conversation. That's not even just Milwaukee. So trying to figure out the better ways to, one, increase the level of home ownership, to increase the level of how properties within particular neighborhoods are being valued. How do we then also begin to bring in more amenities, I guess, for those communities to thrive, but they're still beneficial to the community? Like those are all types of conversations that don't happen on a regular within communities of color versus the way that they do in predominantly white communities.
So is that also reflective in, and just to be in all layman's terms, why the communities look the way that they do, the lack of pride and maintenance in these areas, and how that affects, like it definitely has an effect emotionally or mentally on, like, if you live in a place that's not being taken care of, whether it's by you or the actual owner of the home, does that not have an effect on how you engage in your community?
It does. And that's also a part of what we discussed within our blueprint of talking about fostering safer and stronger neighborhoods. Part of that is, how do we really help to or focus on the ways in which we can increase community beautification projects? Well, how do we start to get funding more? So even if, we may be, people may live in areas that may be deemed economically poor, but there's still work in terms of still trying to elevate the imagery of those neighborhoods, because that can have a psychological and a physiological impact, right? So I think that's why you have a program like We Got This with Andre Lee Ellis, and how that program has helped to elevate that neighborhood, even though it's in the middle of what's considered the worst zip code in the country in 53206.
Right.
Right. But you see the impact that a program like We Got This has had, to where now you got all these young brothers coming from all over the city trying to figure out a way to not only be a part of this program, be a part of this urban gardening, but they're trying to get their $20 too.
Indeed.
But the
indeed.
fact is you got something that's bringing about that stability and bringing that pride, to where now these young people are coming in, parents are getting involved. You're seeing people from all over the city that want to come and help, because that's elevating that neighborhood and the pride and the pride in that area. That's what fostering safe and strong neighborhoods are about. Like, that has to be something that has to also be a part of the conversation as well. If I continuously go around in my neighborhood and all I see is desolation, despair, emptiness, abandonment, if I see that on a regular basis, that has more of an impact mentally than people want to give credence to.
Okay.
So that's why I bring up the impact of or the idea of knowing the complexity of violence and how that operates versus just looking at violence from one singular lens. There's a lot that has happened historically and continues to happen, which has a trickle down effect on the most impacted neighborhoods.
I mean, I definitely appreciate your insight and all of the information that you give, and it helps me to think outside of my box, because I'm definitely on a page of accountability, which is not necessarily on personal accountability, which is not necessarily a popular opinion. When we start talking about the way people are affected by their surroundings, you get what I'm saying? You start talking about people being impacted on a different level from the way that they're treated, the way that the things around them look, and how they're engaged, what they have available to them. All of these things come into play, and I totally get that. But you know what I'm saying? A part of me also argues personal accountability, settling for or you get what I'm saying, personal decisions in situations like that. Like, I know shit is bad sometimes, but is this the route that we want to take? And sometimes people really feel like they don't have a choice. Sometimes people really believe like that's a whole thing, that I'm making the best decision based on what it is based on the cards that are dealt for me. You get what I'm saying? Even though I could easily argue, well, I mean, it's easy to say, like, perfect example. My mom has a friend who she known all her life. Her children and me and my sister, we grew up together. Okay. Almost like our parents had identical lifestyles. Okay. We did not. We did not. Even though both at one point, our moms had married military men. Both of us had the opportunity to move and live outside of the state and grow differently or whatever. A lot of the behaviors impacted a lot of their personal behaviors and their habits, in the way we were raised, and our habits affected us completely different. And my mom had 2 girls and she had 2 boys. So, like, literally born the same ages, born the same years. It's crazy how identical their lives, how parallel their lives were. But unfortunately, and I call him my cousin, one of my unfortunately, the younger of the 2 was a homicide victim the night that Obama was announced that he had won for his first term. And the other one has been, even prior to that, just a product of the community. I'm going to say that. You get what I'm saying? Because it wasn't always great. Like, he had made some really bad decisions, and he did some things, and he'd been in and out of jail. You know what I mean? And my sister and I, my sister has a job, a family. She's been in her marital situation for 20 plus years, family, dog, kid, like, you know what I'm saying? This quote unquote, not perfect, but traditional lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? Me, on the other hand, I'm this sporadic as entrepreneur, not really. I've had jobs, but not really, you know what I'm saying? There's no solid stability in my, so the variances of our lifestyles between the four of us, even though we all face the same opportunities initially, you know what I'm saying? We all took totally different paths. And myself and the older brother had this conversation, and it got so heated. Like, he was so angry with me because he felt like we weren't afforded the same opportunities in our life. And I felt differently because I felt like we walked to the same path, and when we got to a door, you went left and I went right. You get what I'm saying? Like, at some point we start making our own decisions and we start choosing. And with that mindset, you get what I'm saying? I find myself being unfair, and I have to say that, because I felt like it could have been me, but I didn't. You get what I'm saying? So what's the difference between you? Why did you? You get what I'm saying? And why should I feel like you had a different you had less choices than I had? And so we've had that. That was the argument that we were having. So having conversations with you like this helps me to, you know what I'm saying, basically get my head out my ass, just honestly, and not feel like, you know, because it's a psychological thing. You know what I'm saying? And perception. We could have very well been standing at the same door, but the door may not have looked the same to him. You get what I'm saying? In the amount of choices and opportunities could have looked very different. And I never got that until, like, we had that he and I had that conversation. And then you again today are like, so you may have thought that, but no. you get what I'm saying? So,
yeah. And you know what's amazing about it? There's a book called The Other Westmore.
Okay.
And the idea of this book is there are two guys that were raised on the same block, and both of their name was Westmore. And they saw the same environmental challenges, had their own family dealings, which were really similar. But one guy went one way in terms of college and, professional career and all that. Another guy went towards the streets and ended up in prison and all that, but they had the same experience. They grew up on the same block, same environmental challenges and all of that. What was the point of the book? By the time I finished with it, it's the same thing what you just said. The ways in which we process things psychologically, how I process them may not be how you process them.
Right.
It's kind of similar when people always talk about women when they're in domestic violence situations, and it pisses me off when they there if it was that easy. Right? Like, I want to stay there. Like, there's multiple factors that can be in there. One, most perpetrators of domestic violence cut their spouses off from their family intentionally so that they can be in full control. The financial aspect is usually dominated by the abuser. Right? So now not only am I cut off from my family, but I don't have access to the resources, or I don't have access to finances. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any type of housing or anything else once I leave here. And then two, I'm afraid that if he finds me, he may kill me. There's that part too.
There's that part.
Right. So we can't just automatically, but somebody else who's on the outside who's not in that situation and has no idea what that feels like is sitting there saying, why don't you just leave?
Exactly.
Right. So the ways in which we process things and how we step to or how we approach situations, that's what brings about our individuality, because I think differently, so I may act differently than you.
Exactly. Which is why we argued, you know what I'm saying? And when I was saying to him, I'm like, okay, so when your guy pulled up in a Stoli, you got in. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nigga, I'm not getting in that car. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Because my guy pulled up in a Stoli before too. When we was younger. You follow what I'm saying? Like, so it happened. So these are the type of conversations. He was like, okay, but I didn't have the same options as you had, Treese, in that moment. So these are the conversation that we was having. And I mean, it got heated, it got ugly. And I mean, I love him. Like, cause we grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, like he's my brother. Cause how else do I know? I don't know any other way because we was literally born 2 months apart. Our siblings were born the same year, 2 months apart. Our lives are parallel. It's just really crazy. It's just literally we are night and day to the point where he like, you just think you better than me. I said, no, I made better choices than you made. And he was like, this is the conversation. He was like, why you think you made better choices? I said, okay, the outcome of decisions that I made put me in better decisions that you did, the choices that you made. We can go back and forth on how to look at it. I just opted to do things that you opted in on. And our bodies are different. Substance abuse, we talked about smoking, we talked about drinking, we talked about all kinds of stuff and how we were different. Our bodies are different. And we didn't take into. I tried some of the stuff that you tried. You liked it. I didn't. You follow what I'm saying? I've done so. I could have easily been, you get what I'm saying, in the same situation that you have been in. I could have just opted to get in the car to drive. Don't think I didn't know. I mean, I dated a dope boy. I know what that looked like. I know what this. He's like, no, you don't know that. I'm like, sir, you have no idea the decisions that I made. I opted out faster than you did. And why and what made it that way? You get what I'm saying? I don't know what type of what's what I'm saying? What in me that made me do things differently, or what it was in you that made you do things differently. I don't hate you for that, so don't hate me for not making the decisions that you made. These were the conversations that we were having, and I'm so glad that you're bringing to the table, you know, an opportunity for me to revisit that perspective. Is where I'm going. You get what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who think like me, was like, you know what I'm saying? And here we go with the like, I'm not above the law, and I'm not perfect, and I'm easily saying, but you have the same choices that I have. You had the same, but our perspectives are different. And so the reasoning we chose to do different things is completely different. And all that matters. All of those things come into perspective. Let me just read Lynetta's comment real quick as well, please, Jamal.
How come I can't see none of the comments? I can't see nothing.
What are you looking at?
I was looking at Facebook. Where should I go to see
well, this should be on Facebook. If you look at my Facebook page, you should be able to see Lynetta's comment now. Lynetta said John Edgar Wyman and his brother had to be the same, had the same childhood experience, but lives were completely opposite. One a world-renowned author, the other in prison for life. He said, I think it's a mix of choices and opportunities, and another unknown element. Exactly. That, I mean, again, I had to take a self-check in that. It's like I never felt like I was better than him. I just didn't understand why he made the choices that he made, but he always assumed that I thought that I was better than him. I'm like, I never think I'm better than you. Fam, I came home to Hillside when I was born. Right. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was born and I lived in Hillside. That's not a terrible thing, because I remember those experiences when I was 2 and 3. You get what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. I also only lived in Milwaukee till I was 8. You get what I'm saying? And then I moved to California on a military base. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. Which changed the dynamic of all of my learning. Because we all know, if we know anything about youth development, that I was between 8 and 13 or 8 and 12. It's all setting in right there. This was happening. And I learned a whole different set of morals, a whole different ideal of existence in diversity, exchange, expectation, all of these things, because I wasn't raised in that time of my life. I wasn't in Milwaukee. You get what I'm saying? So but the people that were learned something different than I did and had different experiences that I did. You know what I'm saying? So when I come back into this lifestyle, you get what I'm saying? And my idea, that's why all of y'all sit around and y'all can be like, oh yeah, I know such and such. He related to the Joneses, and they was over on such and such, and they related to the Loves, and oh yeah, they own such and such, and I have no idea of none of that history. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's remarkable, and I love people that are connected like that to the city in this space. You get what I'm saying? To be able to have those ties, because it makes you love it that much more, and it makes you care and invest you that much more. You get what I'm saying? Like I love that about what y'all have. And if we're talking about the idea of envy, then it would be that. You get what I'm saying? But I also am very thankful for the experiences that I had that allow me to think differently and engage differently and pursue differently and choose differently.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? I've been very thankful for those experiences. I just wish that even more often now that I had the opportunity to be more and I don't want to say accepting, but to have a different perspective and open-minded, having a more open-minded perspective on how situations and moments and experiences can literally change. Even though I say that all the time, but having a conversation with somebody who lives those experiences, who's lived those things and faced with the opportunity, but were, they just had a whole, like Linda said, a whole other series of unknown elements that made us live two different kind of lives. You get what I'm saying? But the resilience in it is fire to me. You get what I'm saying?
That's what I was just about to say. Because there's another part in addition to the risk factor is the resilience aspect.
Oh my God.
Like, so
yes.
we have to really consider the impact of resilience or, somebody who's able to overcome in spite of or despite some of the struggles or some of the environmental barriers that they may have faced. But that's why I'm talking about systemic violence, because there shouldn't be a conversation of overcoming or being resilient in spite of. So
understood.
We should be talking about why is there an in spite of to even bring up, and what are those things that had to be overcome in spite of, and how do we deal with those issues? That's the root cause analysis of how we get into true violence prevention.
And
right?
How do you get to that? How do you address like the root of that? Like, how do you get to that and not require an individual you know what I'm saying? An individual analysis, like each individual person. You follow what I'm saying? Like, how do you make us better? And not better like we ill and fucked up, but you know what I'm saying? But better like forward and progressive thinking, forward and progressive building in that perspective. I had to say that because I love us. And for somebody to come and say something, I'll fucking fight you about that. That's just I'm trying to explain something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but forward and progressive thinking and more. And you know what I'm saying? Like bigger and better and stronger in that capacity, as opposed to that we fucked up and we need complete healing. I mean, we all need some wellness, but come on, let's not do that.
We all need that. But I think also in 1994, during the post apartheid era in South Africa, they had what was called the Truth and Reconciliation Conference. The idea of that was, in order for us to reconcile from the impact of apartheid, we first got to be truthful about this. So I think part of it is even the people who have been resilient to overcome some of the things that have happened, have to be at the table to talk about. Truth is, these are some of the things that we all had to deal with. These are the things that I had to deal with. These are the things that you had to deal with. But a lot of these were set because the parameters were set differently based on certain characteristics. For example, the parameters of the environment were set different for Black folks versus the way they were set for white folks. The parameters were set different for men versus the way they were set for women. The parameter was set differently for people that would be deemed quote unquote heterosexual or straight versus those who would be identifying as LGBTQ. There were parameters that were set to benefit different people in different ways. Now we got to be honest with saying, if we're really talking about, but the irony of that is all of those parameters were set for different groups of people under the guise of saying life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It's about liberty, justice, freedom, equity, equality. You can say all those different characteristics, but there are asterisks next to that because we know that's not the way it was set from the beginning.
Right. That's why I made the tight lip face. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
You made the what face?
The tight lip face. Okay, I'm sorry. Please continue.
I see what you're saying. So that's where the truth part comes in, where you're saying we got to be truthful about, and there's got to be a grand critical mass of people who are saying this. It can't just be a small percentage of people. It can't just be the people's revolution on the streets, talking about social injustice, police brutality, whatever. It can't just be some of the other radical groups across the country that are speaking on different issues in terms of LGBTQ rights, in terms of women's rights and all the like. We need people who may not, as a man, I should still be able to speak up for women's rights. As somebody who may identify as heterosexual or so-called straight, which I don't even particularly like that term, but that's another conversation. As somebody who identifies as heterosexual, I should still be able to speak up for LGBTQ rights because they deserve rights just like me. I'm no different than them, right? So it's people, even if you are not impacted directly by injustice exist in this country, you still should be willing to speak up against that injustice, because if you truly believe as a so-called patriot, if you're a patriot of this country, the whole definition of patriotism suggests that someone who loves their country so much or has a love for their country that they should be able to speak against it. And James Baldwin said that I have a love for my country so much that I have the right to perpetually criticize her when she goes astray. So when I see what this country is supposed to stand for not happening, we should all be willing to speak against that. Because then now we're going to now we're all demanding that the platform be set equal for every person in existence, every person in this country, regardless of race, creed, sexual orientation, what have you. Because now we can see where people will be able to go based on the fact that the barometer has been set to zero for everybody. So we all start from here, and now we have the opportunity to go here, and you're not going to be hindered based on some form of social, gender, or racial hierarchy that's been already set.
And so Lynetta Davis says, that's the question. How do oppressed, marginalized folks teach resilience? How can they? How can they not?
I think when it comes to oppressed and marginalized folks, when teaching resilience, Black folks have been resilient in this country and have always been in a position where we've been successful in spite of in many ways, right? So I think a lot of it also is people beginning to realize that as you have overcome or you've been resilient in those and from those different conditions. I think it's what you said, Patrice, where you left, you were exposed in terms of being on a military base and all that, and then now being able to come back because you saw something different.
Yeah.
Now being able to give that to people who didn't have that experience. And whatever that looks like.
Well, I think that's why I have this show. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's why I because I see things differently, and just to offer a different perspective. You get what I'm saying? And not in a space of of belittlement. You get what I'm saying? Or an expectation of a higher self. You get what I'm saying? But just to offer another perspective, because if
right.
we're always if we're all sitting at the table looking at the same thing the exact same way, somebody missing something. You get what I'm saying? We're looking at the same thing the exact same way, all in full agreement. You get what I'm saying? It very well could be a piece of so we're not gonna comment that this part has got a different shade that don't matter. Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever the slight differences are, just to be able to see it in its full self. You know what I mean? And so being able to lay out all the full perspective of it, and full prospect or perception of it. You know what I mean? I think I say this often. What happens when you wake up one day and everything you've ever learned was wrong? Like you got to start from scratch. Like, are we willing to learn that? I also said earlier that this past year taught me perseverance. Like I never, I was introduced to it in 93. You know what I'm saying? With dealing with some fraternal organizations and things like that. But coming into this year, being able to move in spite of, you get what I'm saying? Even when the heart of you does not want to, you get what I'm saying? And learning and understanding it was necessary. You got to, without it, you know what I'm saying? You die. And I know that people like that's extreme. It's not extreme because there's more than one way to die, people. but that's another
Absolutely.
whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
It's a whole other conversation. Auntie Cora says, therein lies the problem. People who are not affected by oppression, racism, or any other ism do not want to participate in making a change in the system that promotes them. Is it the other way around though? Is it that people who have been oppressed and subject to racism and other isms that are having a difficulty wanting to speak up, to become the voice? You get what I'm saying? To teach, like Linda said, to teach that resilience. Like somebody needs to hear that.
I think there is a mixture of both, but I think you're seeing a fundamental shift.
Okay.
And I think that shift really happened. We just witnessed the largest social justice movement in the history of this world.
Yep, of the world. Now, please say that.
Right.
I'm so glad, because not the country, of the world.
Of the world.
Of the world.
We've never seen a social justice movement to this magnitude of what we just saw after the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen that. So, and here's the thing. We can look right here within the state of Wisconsin. Obviously, we have the People's Revolution, which has been going over 200 days strong. Shout out to them in terms of staying steadfast and fighting for racial injustice and police reform, right? You've got groups in Wauwatosa. You've got groups in Burlington, which is by Kenosha. What?
You broke up again. We lost you. We lost you for like 2 seconds.
You got me now?
Yes.
You've got groups in Burlington, Kenosha, Menominee Falls, Wauwatosa. Areas like that are also rising up and speaking. I mean, obviously, clearly Kenosha is after what happened to Jacob Blake.
Indeed.
But Burlington, Menominee Falls. I mean, but particularly Burlington.
Yeah.
How many? What is it? 5 black folks there. So you got a predominantly white city like Burlington. They've got their own movement around social justice, right? So, and that's just here in Wisconsin. You've got other areas across the country that are doing the same thing. I think right now we're in a prime opportunity that we can't let that die.
Okay.
We can't let that die. And one of the aspects is being vocal in terms of civic engagement, is being vocal. Am I going out again?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Civic engagement, social cohesion, all of those different aspects to which there
you just went out. You just went out. All of those different aspects as to their what?
We all have to be engaged in that. There was an article that just came out in a Journal Sentinel talking about the Unlearning Racism class at YWCA.
You broke up again.
I broke up again?
Yep, Unlearning Racism class at YWCA.
Unlearning Racism at the YWCA. I actually was one of the facilitators at that class before I came over here to the city. So this is an in-depth look at the impact of racism, but at the end of it, there's a action.
But at the
challenge.
end of the, okay, come on.
I can't believe it's happening. I'm on the office.
But it's okay. But just please know that this is how you know I'm paying attention. I'm repeating these last lines. You play these games. Let's go.
Challenge that's asking people for a call to action. Racism. So you don't just get to learn the material and go sit on it and think about it.
You said a call to action to do what with racism?
To actually be active against racism. You have to create a plan.
Okay, so that is something that each one of them are being charged to create develop. Their own plan to develop. Okay, there we go. Mm-hmm. That is an entire prospect. I'm on air. I'm on the air. Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just the fact that, and then that class honestly is targeting white people.
It's like that. It sounds like that. Okay, so I know you've seen a video of the lady that's got this little short white lady, kind of older. She not real old. Well, she don't look real old, but she look old enough. And she ain't there busting heads, right?
That's Jane Elliott.
Okay, see again. I know enough, but I'm not good with names, and I can't give you specifics. But I know some stuff. Okay, she is like literally forcing people to see all of their uglies. You get what I'm saying? Like serious. I'm like, she is really like playing no games. I'm like, you don't understand. What was I watching? Oh my God. I was on Instagram scrolling through, and there's an actor. God, I'm so bad with names, y'all bear with me. And the actor was having a conversation on a Black podcast. And he is a white actor that has a wife of color, and he was trying to explain how he came to accept the understanding of what white privilege was. Somebody told him he had white privilege, and he was like, "F you, you don't know me. What the hell, whatever." But he couldn't leave it there. Like he picked it apart because he was like, "Why would somebody say that to me?" You know what I'm saying? Under the circumstances of my lifestyle, the engagement that I have, what does that look like? So he started picking it apart, and he started revisiting examples in his life where he missed little things, but because he had white privilege. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't for him. Like he said he was in a car with his wife, and he was talking back to one of the officers, and the wife was like, "Stop, shh, don't do that. And he was like, "What?" You get what I'm saying? Like she was like, and then, but in hindsight, in retrospect, he was like, "Oh, because if I wasn't white, that would have been all bad." You get what I'm saying? And then
immediately.
Exactly. In situations like that. So he was revisiting the idea of what that looks like, just across the board, and like understanding, like even for me, understanding what white privilege is has been a true lesson. Like serious, like even as a Black woman, learning what white privilege is has just been like, wow. Are you kidding me?
If I could there's something I had to, I would explain in that class, as well as in many speaking engagements I've done in terms of racial equity and racial injustice. There's a quote that I say, "The whiteness of white is more dangerous than the genetics of white." And
explain, please.
So essentially what that means is, well, first off, the whole idea of whiteness was created as a social it's a social construct to establish racial hierarchy, right? So it wasn't because, for prior to the idea of the creation of whiteness, Irish, Polish, people who, Scottish, people who identified under those ethnic groups were, they were completely mistreated, right? But then when you had the, something like the Bacon's Rebellion, everything all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. When you had a historical event like the Bacon's Rebellion, which brought about the white elitists who didn't like the fact that white indentured servants and Black slaves were coming together to rebel, here comes the creation of this whiteness. So when we talk about whiteness of white versus the genetic of white, I'm not scared of your skin as being white. What I'm afraid of is the fact that you have a level of prestige based on your white that you didn't even earn. And you get something different from me based on my skin being Black. That's your privilege. Even if you take advantage of it or not, the fact that it's there,
right,
is the privilege that you have. That's something I can't experience.
And I'll never be able to experience
that.
Yeah.
Right. That's what makes that whiteness of white more dangerous.
And see, now, so when you break it down like that, and this is just so that I can have a parallel in my mind for acceptance and understanding, I feel that way about men and women. Okay. Like seriously, as a woman, and we've had this conversation, so that I'm so sincere. Like, you could never birth a child, sir. You get what I'm saying? And you'll never know what that's like. You get what I'm saying? No matter what happens, no matter how you change yourself externally, and no matter what you'll never have a womb. Okay, it won't be yours.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you'll never. So
It won't be yours.
You follow what I'm saying? Like seriously.
Yeah, I got you.
So you'll never be able to really have that experience. Just like there are parts of my body that will never know what it's like to be masculine. In the level, even if you chemically alter my testosterone levels, I'll still never experience that. And I know there are some differences, and I know it's not the exact same, just think about external, whatever the case may be, but so that I can wrap my mind around it, so it makes sense. Like the differences, like something that I could never experience. I'll never be white. When people say, well, you gotta, you hear that statement, the only thing I gotta do is be black and die. I know you've heard that statement before. And I'm like, yeah, because there's nothing you can do about that. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that. This is how I am, and what am I going to do with it? You get what I'm saying? In comparison to what are you doing with? Because the only thing you can ever be is white.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
know what the correlation of that is like the conversation of two words, nigga and bitch. So and opinions on the word notwithstanding, we just just for the sake of conversation.
Oh, for sure,
right?
For sure.
So there's a difference between a woman calling herself or her friends calling her a B versus a man, right? Because of there's content versus context, right? So
you better come on with it.
The context of it is we understand the impact of sexism, right? Historically, and there is a context that comes along with a man referring to a woman as a bitch, just like the context of racism and a white person referring to a black person as a nigga.
Indeed.
The ways in which the content versus the context of that is because that's deeply rooted in the level of oppression and injustice that brings about, that real hostility when it comes from a certain person versus somebody else, right? And people always say, well, if you all can say it, why can't I? Well, let me explain it to you. That's just like, and like I said, opinion notwithstanding, like
because you can't. It's because you can't.
How about that?
how about because you can't?
Yeah, because you can't.
Okay, like you can't call me Pat because you can't. You like I'm just keeping it. That's the simple as it. You can't call me Pat. You can't. I don't like it. Don't do it. You're probably not gonna like the response you get if you do. Don't do it. Period.
There's that. So instead of trying to figure out ways to engage yourself in a so-called term of endearment, just shut the hell up or use something else.
Use something different. Why do you want to do it?
Why do you want to participate in that? Like,
why do you
exactly. Like I was just gonna say that. Why would you even want to participate?
Why do you want to?
Tread
okay,
that
why
line?
do you want what do you want to be comfortable enough to say that? Why though? Knowing where it comes from. And what it is, and what the root is, in any perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, my man, a guy. Why do you want to call me bitch? For what, sir?
For what?
You got for what?
And I know, like me, me and Homer have had this conversation before, especially when he talks about. Huh?
I said, okay, now.
Yeah, we've had the conversation, and I get what he's in terms of like how he uses it with his guys, right? I'm not one to particularly use it with my guys anyway, but if he's saying, them my niggas versus, yeah, fine, go ahead. I understand the context of how you're using that. Versus if a white guy comes along trying that, bruh.
Like the dude that I hit with the T.
Right. And it's like, even if you grew up around some black folks that allowed you to do that, just keep it there. If that's where they gonna let you do it, stay there. Don't feel like, well, my other black friends allowed me to do it. Why can't I do it here?
Because you just said it. They allowed me.
They allowed you.
They allowed me. You just said it. You got a pass, fam. That's like, well, mom, dad lets me. Oh, well, then do that shit at your daddy house. Because what you not gonna do? Here we go. There. That's so. What you not gonna do?
What you not gonna do? And you gotta clap when you say it.
Exactly. With the head and everything. It was what you not gonna do. Yes. Yes.
So, but it's context. I had to explain that to somebody recently. Like, a lot of those are wrapped up in a level of oppression, and we have to be willing to accept that and discuss that, right? So But that was to my point earlier about truth and reconciliation. You can't solve something without understanding the complexities of the issues. And I think that's what bothers me when people always say, yeah, I'm tired of hearing about this. What about solutions? Do you really know the depths of it? We can't really get to a solution if everybody is not even informed of the problem.
Some people don't care. Some people don't care what the problem is. They just want to work on a fix. Okay.
What are you fixing?
Listen, I'm not saying that I want to fix it. Just tell me what I did. That's what I'm saying. I use this conversation. I say everybody not the leader. And some people just show up and be like, okay, tell me what job to do. Don't tell me why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell me what the result of this going to be. Just tell me what to do. And some people want to just show up and just do this job.
Okay, what you're doing it for what purpose?
Some people don't care.
Want to show up and just do.
You got what I'm saying? Like some people.
Degree if you're showing up to do it.
Well, some people don't. Well, I just want to. Some people the simplicity of it for some people is this is just my part. That's okay. Like the person that show up and do the register, they don't care that's one of the most important jobs in the building. First point of contact to the customer. They don't give two cares. You get what I'm saying? Like you finna make sure you finna make or break this company. Your attitude, you know what I'm saying? The people gonna stop coming here just specifically for you. Never. What day she work? I'm never coming here on that day. None of us. You follow what I'm saying?
You will never see me here again on Wednesday.
All of us on Wednesday between what time? Then the company's gonna see a huge dip in it. It's the same concept, and I'm learning that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But in relationship, in dealing with both men and women, you know what I'm saying? I want to know about. I don't want to know about your past to judge you from your past, but I want to know about your past so I can understand who you are. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? The things, your experiences, and what of that you're willing to share with me, so I can understand more about without you saying, "Well, I just told you," because you didn't tell me nothing. It's only common sense. Hold on, your common sense and your experiences ain't mine. So I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? What type of engagement you have or what your expectation is of this if you don't share that with me. And in order for me to get a true understanding, talk to me about why you feel that way. Where did that come from? You know, how did we get here? So I'm all about the how did we get here? But it's a whole lot of people. Right. And that's an understatement that don't give two hells about how we get here. And it's just willing to move their feet to get away from here. Mm-hmm. How do you get those people to I mean, is let me take that back. Is their knowledge of the why crucial or pertinent to the success of the next step?
I think in various situations it is.
Okay.
And you have to be able to evaluate those situations and figure out where that rests. It's kind of like the example that you just gave with the register, right? People coming in and acting like it's just a job. Well, you and your just a job mindset is about to cost this business. This is why we want you to be on, to have this type of an interaction with our customers, or, whether that's the greeter, even with the greeter, right?
Okay. And the Walmart. Hey, welcome to Walmart. Hey, how's it going? Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all.
That's just like,
hey, y'all. I'm gonna be that when I get older, just so be clear on that.
Kevin Hart's recently, his recent stand-up, Kevin Hart. Mm-hmm. But he made a point about one of the Walmart greeters, and the dude walked in. It was like, "Welcome to Walmart. Can I get you? You came to get some stuff?"
No, sir. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want nothing. As a matter of fact, I'm about to leave right now.
When Kevin Hart showed him his bag, he was like, "Ooh, you got you some good stuff. You need to come back and get some more." He was like, "That made me want to come back." Clearly, it was exaggerated
for sure.
But the point is, that role is you're the face that somebody sees as soon as you walk in the building.
But and they're there for a reason. And I know people don't understand. Like if you understand business, marketing, research, good fields, like human psychology, they're there for a reason. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? It's all there for a reason. I'm the hey, how y'all doing? What's on it? Hey, hello everybody. Hello. Because and then I get all the looks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And all the What the fuck wrong with her? Ain't here all speaking to everybody that, oh, I know you don't want me to speak. Then don't speak back. But hey, how you doing? What's on it? Because it sets a mood. You get what I'm saying? It sets a mood. It creates a space that, in my opinion, helps to foster growth. And that's just my opinion. Whether it's growth in finances, growth in relationship, growth in, you know what I'm saying? It just does.
Right.
Jamal, you always call with these good old conversations. When you getting back on the air?
I'm glad I could help. Glad I could be a part of it.
When you getting back on the air? Don't say you not.
Ooh,
bam. See the tree? Bam. See the street? Bam. House. Bam.
Dang.
Front street, built right house. You
just put me right out there in front of people like that.
Yes, it is.
It's gonna front me like that.
So I built the whole house and put pretty flowers in the yard and everything right on Front Street. Bam. Do you like it?
Gina, baby. Damn. Okay, you're right though. I do have to figure this out.
Just, something to consider. Like your voice is important. We can always schedule some time. You know what I'm saying? For you to, I don't know, even it's once a month. Slide through and similar to this. You know what I'm saying? Or video streaming. You know what I'm saying? To tie in the idea of this part of moving us forward on Mondays. I love the idea of being able to jumpstart people's work week, jumpstart people's week period, and being able to give them a little fire. And community and love and life and business, all of these little things, you know what I'm saying? That's my goal for Mondays. So today's word of the day was, let me find it really quickly. Micromanage. Okay.
What was the word of the day?
Today's word of the day was micromanage. Okay. And when you hear the word micromanage, like what does it put you in a mindset of?
I'm infuriated.
How so? You
because
breaking
I
it.
feel as if
There you go.
I feel as if, I don't know if you heard me. I said it actually is an irritation. I sometimes become infuriated by it, and I feel it's because there was I'm just using my job in it as an example. You hired me with knowing that I had a level of expertise. Let me be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a space in terms of coaching or where there can be, any suggestions.
You broke up after coaching.
I said, if there could be a moment of coaching or, suggestions for improvement, by all means. But that's in seeing how I perform and then trying to help me tweak something. But if you're constantly breathing down my neck as I'm trying to be the best that I am, that's going to actually bring more of a hesitation for me to, live in that space to my fullest capability.
Indeed.
So I'm not a fan of it.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of it when I was a director, and I'm not a fan of it now. So
my thought was, because I don't like to be micromanaged either, like in no capacity. And you got me to do the job. You hired me to do the job. Show me how the job needs to be done. Let me go and do my job. Goodbye. Thank you. Have a nice day. And then result. You get what I'm saying? Like, because that's how I work. So I get it. But I also suggested, so I used the term basically so that people would learn to start micromanaging themselves, the way that they micromanage the expectations of other people, whether it's their significant others, their children, their work lives, things like that. You get what I'm saying? If you are going to hold people to this accountability, this level of accountability, where you always saying something, you're questioning everything, their moves, their ideas, their focus, even in your children. Well, I hope that you are micromanaging yourself the same way that you are laying out all these guidelines, expectations, and bias rules for everybody else. And in order for us to be your best selves, you want to be your true selves. You get what I'm saying? Then manage yourself the way that you expect other people to be managing you, or go sit down somewhere.
Or what?
Go sit down somewhere. Go sit down.
Go sit down somewhere.
Go sit your ass down.
Yeah. Introspection is the hardest level of evaluation that you can ever.
But it's
People
a
can give a
thing.
PowerPoint presentation on how you messed up. I got the bullet points, everything. I got the parenthetical citations. I can go back to the actual day, time in which you messed up. That moment where you had me effed up. Everybody says right. Okay. But how much do you really look at that time where you effed up? Like anytime that you ask, that's just like in an interview, right? When people are asked, tell me 3 to 5 things about you that would separate you in your mind from someone else in getting this job. That is a major struggle for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They come up with the same answers. I'm a hard worker. I'm dedicated. I want to learn. I'm a hard worker. I'm a fast learner, and I'm dedicated.
Those are definitely top 3.
answers.
Yep, top 3.
Those are the top 3 answers that are always given. That shows me, in my mind, that you don't take time to really evaluate you.
Mm.
You don't focus on you enough.
Y'all catch this message real quick. If y'all out here looking for jobs, don't show up at a job doing that, because Jamal ain't gonna hire you.
Don't do that. I'm telling you, you go. But that means you have to know yourself to sell yourself.
Come on now. Come on.
So that means in those spaces, you're going to have to challenge yourself to evaluate what's wrong with you. Not what's wrong, but what are some of the struggles that you have? Exactly. And how are you trying to change that? Well as how do you continuously perfect those things that are good with you, right? It's a continual learning situation. You have to do that. That's got to be a daily practice. That has to be a daily commitment to even practice it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not common. And that is why. So I was going through the words when I was coming up with the word of the day, and I was like, I was going to use some big, pretty, fancy word because I like words, you know what I mean? And it's going to try to figure out. I was like, you know what? Something simple enough that they can understand what it is and what. But let's just change the light on it a little bit, because a lot of people feel like micromanagement is somebody managing them, telling them what to do. It's always being the recipient of micromanagement. You get what I'm saying? As opposed to being the micromanager. You know what I'm saying? The person who's responsible for, again, self evaluation, being able to stay on top of self and being your best self, building your best self. You know what I'm saying? It does require a lot of introspection. It does require you to, and I hate to use the term pick yourself apart, but tear away some of those layers.
That's essentially what you're doing, though.
Tear away some of those layers and offer some type of what's the word I'm saying? Effort at growth. And people say growth, and that's why I said earlier when I said, to make us better, to heal us better, not as in like we are in a bad space, but better for wanting more, better for improvement and for progression. It don't mean that you effed up. It just means that there's always possibility to be better. There's more. Don't you want more? Or how do I at least, because it changes your perspective from thinking that it ain't no more to actually understanding that it could be more and you might want more. That's growth in itself. And if that's what you walk away from, if that's what you take away from this space, from this conversations, from us, from that moment that you have, you know what? I never thought that I could want. I think I do. That shit right there, winning. Winning, because that now you opened up a whole nother door. Now you open it. Good, go on in there. Go on chat and push you in the back.
Or better yet, that's what you want. Come on, I'll go with you.
Yes. Do you understand? Now? I used the analogy a few shows back when I said, if you want to dig yourself into a ditch, I'm probably not getting in a hole with you, fam.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna walk off right away. I'm gonna be outside. I'm gonna stand up here. I'm like, hey, you probably don't want to do that. I'm gonna offer you some. You know what I'm saying? It's not because I can see what you can't. My side of vision is different than yours. You know what I'm saying? Because it includes you. You get what I'm saying? As opposed to just the things around you. It includes you. That's not. Oh, you gonna stay here for a little while? Okay. Well, I'm gonna start walking. And because I'm not climbing in there with you, now I can help you out, but I'm not coming in. Okay. You don't want, oh, you, okay, well, I'm going to start walking. I'm going to check back over my shoulders occasionally to make sure that you decide to come up. Well, come on, fam. You're not, yeah, we can't stay here.
Right.
we can't live here.
Right.
I can't live here. Now, if you want to live there, I will not judge you for that. You do what you feel like is best for you. Unfortunately, I'd hate to see you not living up to your mass potential. And I say that like that, like the people on the mountain. When you travel up the mountain, there's different hills and different spots you go. It's plenty room on the top because everybody stopped along the way.
Right.
It's plenty room on the top. It's so many analogies. We can go over there. Up at the top is room for all, because at the bottom is crowded, y'all. That's the song. You know what I'm saying? It's so much, to wanting something different, to be enlightened, to be lifted, to not to be above anybody, just to be a better you.
Right.
Just to be a better you. And then I also said earlier that that was the word of the day, but the message of today was just because you can doesn't mean you should. And when you hear that, what does it say to you?
Exercise wisdom and act accordingly. Just because you can buy a Maybach doesn't mean you should. When there's other things that can be invested in better. So I just feel like there are things that the whole level of participation. Some things that just don't need to be engaged in. Some things you just don't need to participate in. And you have the opportunity to, but how does that benefit you? How does that help you in the long run? Right? Did that really serve a purpose? There's a video that's circulating out right now. I saw a TikTok video that's circling around where a lady walked up to a guy and tapped him on the shoulder, and he was like, "Well, before you start, is this conversation going to profit me in any way? Am I going to grow from this? Am I going to learn from this? Am I going to be able to build off of this? Then we ain't got nothing to talk about." So what from in listening to that, it's like, how would this situation help you grow? How would this benefit you? How would this serve? What purpose would this serve that it could help take you to another level? Yeah, we know you can do it, but would it help you? Or is it just something to do? You got to be able to identify the need versus the want. And if this is something that you just want, then say that and own that. But if it's something that you, I
said you better come on with it. Yes.
But if it's something that you need, then that's something that needs to be differentiated. And then you say this is what you need, and then be willing to own why you feel you need that. Right. So. Yeah, there are things that we can engage in all the time. There's things that we can be a part of, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's something that it would be beneficial for us in the long run. And if you can't determine the difference between the two, there are going to be some decisions that are made that you're going to look back in hindsight and say, "Yep, I probably shouldn't have done that one."
Got a couple of those under my old woman belt. I'm just saying, and keeping it one. I'm sure it's a couple of those under my old woman belt. Be like, fix my little lock bang.
I wish there's plenty both folks who could say that same thing.
Indeed. So what is 2021 looking like for you, sir?
Now that I reached that 40 plateau finally.
Welcome.
It's it's really more so ensuring that there's constant space for personal growth.
I'm sorry, constant what?
Constant space for personal growth.
Okay.
I am always trying to figure out the better ways to learn more of myself,
Okay.
because I know that there's more. Every time I learn something else, there's something that changes, something else comes up, and I always want to be in a space where I can really learn what that is. Because to your point earlier, I can't be the best for someone if I'm not best to me. And that may be being selfish, but sometimes I think there is a stigma on the word selfish that should not be. And it's okay to be concerned about yourself if that is about your personal growth, and then how you can take that and benefit others. Well, you got to take it to yourself first. You got to give that to yourself first. So that's really a lot of my focus of 2021, in addition to really getting back in my writing. It's going to be a lot of a bigger increase in terms of my advocacy work, platforms having these conversations around, civic engagement and the impact of violence prevention. Whether I'm doing that through the Office of Violence Prevention or just period. But just getting back to me, that's really what 2021 is going to be is really getting back to being who Jamal knows he is, but knows that he's going into even more.
I'm glad you said that, because I was listening for it. I was like, okay, he doing all this great stuff for other people. He doing all okay, that's community. Okay, building. Okay, but there we go. Because I'm a firm believer in self-care. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, emotionally, physically. I'm just a firm believer in it. And I know, and I'm saying that, you know what I'm saying? Like this all experience, these last few years, I've had at least 3 surgeries in the last 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And they were necessary so that I could be, I'm also down almost 50 pounds. You follow what I'm saying? And I didn't have like the stomach reduction surgery or whatever the case may be. But for me to be able to move around, be well, physically, emotionally, you know what I'm saying? Trying to stay connected spiritually, trying to build myself emotionally so that I can be open and honest. And when I do these shows, like I love these shows, because not just that it gives me an opportunity to provide a platform for other people, but it makes it so that I'm able to hear myself and hold myself accountable for the same type of truth and expectation that I want from everybody else. Like I want us better. So then I in order for that, I gotta be pursuing better for myself. I want us well. So I have to be doing well for myself. I can't talk about women's health and I'm letting mine go to shit. That's not possible. I can't talk about entrepreneurship and say that I love entrepreneurship and women in business, and I'm not focusing on growing my businesses. I have them. Why am I not growing them? What am I doing to, you know what I'm saying? So literally, in order for us so I'm working diligently to not just talk the talk. You know what I'm saying? But to walk the walk in insight, as opposed to I spend a lot of time behind doors. But I want to walk it inside so people see it. And when you hear me talking, we have these conversations and these platforms. Here we are. This is what we're talking about. And she talking shit. She do. You know what I'm saying? And stuff that she's working towards, because I don't get it all right. I am not perfect. I got lots of room for growth. But
all of us do.
Look,
clearly.
but listen. I'm trying to explain. I'm just trying to explain so people know. I know. Listen, I told my girlfriends and my guys, I said, listen, I'm just gonna grab me a case of black robes and some gavels, so I can just go start passing them out every time somebody says something to me. Here you go, Your Honor. Yo, judging ass.
Wow.
Here you go.
Hey, wherever you get that supply from, let me know, because I got plenty to pass out.
Here you go. Have a nice day. How would you need a robe too today? You have one.
Right.
Yeah.
Judging ass.
With your judging ass. It's out of here. I'm just saying.
Love it.
Sometimes you want to wear. You got to wear the outfit since you want to play the role. Anyway, okay. Let me back up. So it's okay. I want to thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And thank you for your insight. And I'm serious about having you come on more regularly, or at least we can schedule some time. It don't have to be every month. It can be quarterly. It can be whenever. You get what I'm saying? Just to
Okay.
have you slide through. We're gonna have to have a schedule. You get what I'm saying? Just lock in some stuff to have some rich conversation just like this. Because in every aspect, you know what I mean? I want to help us to see the bigger picture. And we have to include not just my opinion, you get what I'm saying, on how I feel. And, because, people, I don't want to project biased opinion. You get what I'm saying? I want to be able to have my opinion and still present fact.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real. So I can have an opinion on what I feel. I can say what I want to say, feel how I want to feel. But the truth of the matter is this.
Right.
So that is my plan. I'm really excited about being here on Mondays. I'm excited that you were free. Dope.
Yeah. I was just finishing up a meeting, and then I got on. I was like, let's check out JustPatrice, and it sounded like it was getting good. I was like, well, let me get in this one.
Look at the father. Look at him. Yes, work, Lord. I almost didn't make it. I just want to say that I almost didn't make it. My systems crashed. And you notice that systems, because I got a system over there that is still rebooting, installing. I have no idea what directory it's installing that's been taking 24 hours. But it's still, all I can hope is that when it's done, it'll be all right. Yeah. Anyway, I was able to get this one restored enough so that I can get to you guys. Today is my first Monday. But it will not be my last. I'm excited to be here on this new day with you. And Mr. Smith, it has been a pleasure. And I will be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon.
Indeed. Good night.
All right.
So as we get ready to wrap up my first Monday, I want to thank you guys for being so freaking fabulous. Thank you for all of your input, your engagement, your conversation, for sharing, because I got notifications of that, for your feedback. I want to remind you that we'll be here starting today, every Monday, 1 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know if you're doing some type of special event, but 1 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on blowradio.com. Some great conversation in all the fields, hosted by your girl, JustPatrice. I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad that you guys are willing to join us with us. Don't forget, starting tomorrow, home or blow 4 days in a row. I love that. Blow 4 days in a row. It's corny, but I love it. So keeping it real, the next level is definitely in the building. It is an honor to have spent the beginning, the top of the 2021 New Year with you, our official first Monday, and you guys are here hanging it out with me. It is an thank you for that, and I look forward to the coming weeks. Don't forget, if you have questions, comments, you can send an email to IamJustPatrice@gmail.com. Please send please make sure you put radio show or topic or radio show comments in the email, so I can be sure that I can direct it directly. Directed about the radio show. Again, if you want to be a guest, inbox me directly or send an email. If you have topics you'd like to have us discuss, inbox me directly, send an email, send a text message to 414-885-4739, 414-885-4739, or just call me. Until next week, it's been my pleasure. I holla.
Adiós míos, papi. No puedo dejar de sentir una especial de manera de usted.
You already know.
Sometimes it's hard to explain how you feel when your troubles are weighing you down. And it's hard to accept that the world has your back when you cry and there's no one around. But it's okay, girl. a day, girl, to regroup and to relax your mind. I know your pain, girl. Trust when I say, girl, that tomorrow is gonna be alright. Breathe just breathe. Nobody said it'd be easy. You're working hard to take care of your babies. And the way the world's set up, even when your man gives up, you got to keep it moving on. So it's okay, girl. So take a day, girl, to regroup and to relax your mind. I know your pain, girl. Trust when I say, girl, that tomorrow is gonna be alright. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Then lay your troubles down. When you're tired of all the drama, makes me wanna holler, yeah. I know you're tired of stressing with the world on your shoulders. Breathe in, breathe out, let it go. I know you're tired of stressing. I know, yeah. Breathe in, breathe out, let it go. 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 Let it go.